Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas, keep. You with me, sheesh. Bonito, cheap, keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah, head up in the clouds, though they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Frankie Candle's live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Mafia, we've been looking at the levels for quite some time. And here we are at the daily MPOC / Golden Pocket at around $94,000 to $95,000, guys. Are we headed lower? Are we going to the value area low at 92 to 91K? Are we going to 85K, 75K? What is going to happen next? We're going to break it down all on the charts for you tonight. And, yeah, guys, you know, I hate coming up here and being bearish, but obviously looking at these levels for a reason. But we're going to go over everything. You guys are cracking me up in the chat. Shout out to Christian Mella. Can't even read some of these chats, but shout out to Christian Mella. I have no comment. But welcome in, brother. Always happy to have you in here. Let's see. Massively cooked. It's respecting the downtrend. Shout out to Marco. Yes, obviously, guys, getting the big drop to the downside. We have lost the 50-week moving average pretty aggressively here, but we are tapping into some support. Now, obviously, you don't want to get super bearish at support, but I'm going to talk about kind of what I'm looking at here. We have the higher time frame money flow coming out. I'm going to cover the bearish case, and I'm going to try to cover some kind of a bullish case, but are we going to be able to bounce here locally, guys? And if we do, how high can we go before we're going to look for this thing to roll back over and come down to some lower prices? And I guess the question is, are we even going to come down to lower prices? Well, when we look at money flow, obviously this has kept us on the right side of the market so far, and it is all still coming out. Shout out to who said it? I lost it. But yeah, shout out to Namtaro says, see y'all next October. But yeah, we're going to talk about it, guys. Is it the bear market? Well, I think most people have my thoughts on what I think here as far as the bear market goes, but I'm going to try to give you guys the bullish and the bearish case, and then of course, I think everybody knows which way I'm leaning, but I'll try to give, present both cases here for you guys. I'll even show kind of a path for some hopium, but that is pretty much what it's going to be. It's going to be hopium. And of course, I'll let you guys know what I think the higher probability is going to be, and I think if anybody's been watching this show for the past couple of weeks, you guys know what my bias is here. But thank you for tuning in, Mafia. Oh, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. We got Crypto Pice in the chat. By the way, guys, we are going to be doing giveaways later at the end of the stream, so stick around for that. We're going to be giving away some crypto, and maybe if we hit a like goal, let's try to hit 550 likes. Maybe we'll give away some free Frankie Candles hats. Yo, shout out to Lucia. Said money flows in the green on the 1 minute, though. Shout out to Lucia. Yes. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get a bounce here, guys. Obviously, we have looked at this key level. We have now come down and tapped it. If you guys saw the market update from earlier, I was looking for a secondary drop to actually come tap the key levels. We have technically now tapped them. So can we get a bounce? We'll talk about that probability and how high that bounce could potentially go. But let's see. Send the alts up for the love of Frankie. Shout out to Hollywood. I'm going to try, bro. I'm going to try. We'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance, and we'll take a look at some of the altcoins as well. Obviously, shout out to Mickey. Welcome in. We got Jack in the chat. Said, can we check ICP tonight, please? Big retracement. Yeah, shout out to Jack. We'll take a look at ICP. No problem. But yeah, we got a lot to look at on the charts here, guys. I don't want to waste too much time here. I got something on my hat here. What is this? It's a permanent mark. But anyway, without further ado, shout out to Thomas. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He said, you have made me and saved me money. Will definitely be joining your Discord once my bank is back above 10K and I get a good PC. Thank you, Frankie. Shout out to Thomas. I appreciate that, bro, because as I've said a lot here on the recent live streams, guys, if there's one thing I don't like doing, it's coming up here and saying price is going to go down. But as you know, the charts are my boss. I can only tell you what the charts are telling me. And obviously, the bias has been to the downside. Looking at that $94,000 POC Golden Pocket Confluence, that next big target to the downside. Even had some people in here yesterday call me a clown for looking down towards those levels. And, hey, here we are, right? We don't just say it for no reason, guys. It's all based off information and actual technical analysis. Shout out to Ray. Thank you for the super chat. He said, is it time to cash out my XRP at the next bounce? Shout out to Ray. We'll get into that when we take a look at the altcoins as well. But what about the ETFs, though? But yeah, we'll take a look at that, of course, and I'll give you guys, my unbiased opinion, just like we did yesterday. And guys, I've been saying I pray I'm wrong. I pray that the charts are wrong. But of course, we are only going to make those decisions based off the charts. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, let's see here. So obviously, guys, I'm going to kind of talk about, overall situation here. Let's pull up our macro volume profile. Now, obviously, guys, we all know once we lost this 108K level, I say this every day, but I think it's important from a context perspective. As long as we can hold above this level, doorway to all-time highs are open. We saw that all-time high, and on these second tests here, guys, the more times you tap on the door, the more likely it is to open, and we knew that this door, if opened, would likely be, or not likely, but is the floor, right? Once that opens up, it's like a trap door, and once price gets accepted into this volume profile, the next highest probability area for price to go is right on down towards that POC, just looking at the simple laws of the volume profile, guys. When you look at the volume profiles, you will always have a clean blueprint on what you're expecting next on price. Now, not only was it the loss of this $108,000 level, which, by the way, is still a major key level of resistance to get above. Of course, any kind of bounces that we have in here, I am going to have a bias for lower highs and lower lows as the money flow has kept us on the right side of this downtrend for quite some time. Again, we don't just call for these levels because I hope for them. It's just because the charts are pointing there based off the volume profiles. And on top of that, of course, we had our money flow in the red here on the daily, indicating the lower highs and the lower lows. We also had the 2-day money flow. Red dot also printing here as well, but money flow on the 2-day in the red. We've taken a look at this from a cycle perspective, talking about how we are very close, or pretty much at what you would expect the full play out of the 4-year cycle to be. And we even had our Fibonacci time level on October 20th, guys, which was kind of the mark where we were looking for a big pivot, and that is exactly where the top came in. This line is not marking that out. It was like right here. That is the level that we were looking at to indicate, or not to indicate the bear market, but that is where the bear market topped out. We have the 1-to-1 time fib. We knew that was here on October 20th, and look what we're seeing here, guys. Very interesting. And of course, I'll go over the long term in just a little bit. We'll go deep into the long term. Where can we see the bounce? Of course, on a higher time frame. We have not really broken macro structure just yet. We still have this low here, which we are potentially holding on top of. But again, I'll get more into detail on what I'm expecting there in a second. But of course, right, you get accepted into the volume profile. This is always going to make me say POC is the next likely place for price to go. Oh my God, we're bouncing. Isn't it bullish? Well, your money flow coming out would say the opposite. And you look for the lower highs and lower lows. Literally have these shorts set up there in the premium Discord right from that exact level with all confirmations popping up. And you get that big drop to the downside. And of course, guys, this POC, as we've covered, is not a ton of confluence here, right? We talked about the next big level of support. Where's it at? Being right down here towards our golden pocket / daily MPOCs, right? The daily MPOC, the golden pocket, and another daily MPOC right on top of that value area low. Golden pocket, 2 daily MPOCs, and the value area low. More of that confluence was down here, right? Of course, you could look for scalps down here, but even in the premium, letting people know, like, hey, guys, don't like the reaction here. Let's look for a new low. And on the market update earlier today, we even talked about how, we front ran this POC and this golden pocket. More often than not, you are going to come down and tap those physical levels. So hopefully I was able to help people avoid bad long positions there. I think we were like right up here during the actual update. And what happens? You do end up coming down and actually tapping into at least the top of our key zone of support. But as always, guys, the value area low is going to be that final target within the profile. Maybe we can get a bounce here. I'll take a look at some of the local confirmations indicating a little bit of a retracement. But of course, there is still a very high probability that we could come back down, excuse me, to the value area low of the range for that full fill of the volume profile. The magical volume profiles. In this case, it's magical, but it's not very positive, right? So, still have those key levels down there. This is a zone sitting between, call it $94,159 down to about $91,400 near the daily MPOC in the value area low. So this is a zone of support. I'm not saying that we have to get the bounce from this exact level, but there are some local signs that could indicate a little bit of a bounce here. But still, like, my overall bias here, guys, remains exactly the same as it has been ever since we broke down below 108K, which is more bearish based off the money flow, break into the volume profile, amongst all the many, many things we brought up in the past. I'm not going to talk about them all right now to save some time, but I think you guys know what we've been talking about, right? Even looking at Market Cipher A, I think the title on this was like Bearish Signs Explained, right? We have been taking a look at Market Cipher A, which is something I don't really look at very often on the lower time frames, but when it comes to those higher time frames, these signals can be very powerful. And we've been specifically, yesterday we were looking at this 2-day yellow X printing as we are losing that 50-week moving average. We compared this to 2021, very similar timing of the cycle, right? We end up coming down below that 50-week moving average. You have the yellow X printing on the 2-day. You get the drop down. Sure, you have support, but of course, with all your money flow coming out in the red, you're looking for those lackluster retracements. Once you bearishly retest that 50-week without the ability to flip it into support, it is typically every other cycle. It has been a bearish retest. Once you get accepted below there, bearish retest for a continuation into a much, in this case and every other case on every other cycle, with absolutely zero exception, it does push you into the bear market. Now, hopefully this time is different. I know everyone's hoping this time is different. Like every other, start of the bear market, everyone wants this time to be different, and I pray that that's the case as well. But we are seeing a lot of these very, very similar signs. There's your yellow X as you're breaking below the 50-week moving average. And just in general, right, losing this 50-week is a bearish sign, guys. We have not closed the weekly candle just yet, but of course, just like over the past couple of times that we've wicked below here, the closure of this weekly candle above the 50-week moving average sitting at about $103,000 is going to be absolutely critical. We closed it last week above there, but of course, now we're way down below. We do not want to hang out underneath here, guys. This is every other cycle indicated the bear market. You see that weekly candle closure below? There it is, right? You get a little retracement, but eventually you just wind up losing it, and you can't get back above it, and the bear market continues. And then we take a look at the Bitstamp chart for some more history. This happened in 2017, right? Weekly candle closure below. You can't get out. You can't get out into the bear market. 2014, same thing. You bounce off of it. You close your candle above, little retracement. Once you close that weekly candle below, it is not a good sign, and this is a very simple thing to look at, guys. This is not good, right? We put that on the thumbnail. Like, this is absolutely key support. Absolutely key support. We are now losing this, guys. Regardless of if this is indicating the bear market, this is a bearish sign. It's not just the loss of the 50-week moving average. It's also the money flow crossing into the red, the massive weekly, monthly, 2-week bearish divergences that we have, very similar to what we've had there. Timing of the cycle, all this stuff is perfectly lining up, especially on that 1-to-1 time fib, which was, I don't like to harp too much on the timing of stuff. But when you look at it from this perspective, right, like this is what you would expect to be somewhat of, getting towards the end of the cycle. And like, in general, right, these time fibs do indicate big pivots in the market, right? You get a big pivot here, big move up, consolidation. You cross over the next time fib, big pivot. You start to correct, big pivot. You start to correct. Is this the pivot to the downside? Well, I would say very simply, staying below that 50-week moving average is an extremely bearish sign on top of everything else I just mentioned. And even if it's not going to be a bear market, guys, it doesn't really change the fact that this chart does look bearish. Let's assume the bear market doesn't come in. I would still be bearish here for a continuation down of some sort. So obviously, you do have the golden pocket sitting here. This is the last chance, right? This is honestly where, and when we start talking about alt season and the possibility of maybe seeing the alt start to perform a little bit. Obviously, we have dominance coming down at least right now. But like this is really the level that we want to bounce off of, right? Like this is kind of the last level. And if we take off our macro volume profile and we just keep that Fibonacci retracement on the chart, just from a Fibonacci standpoint, right? Like I mentioned earlier in the stream, you know, I know a lot of people are probably going to argue here that we have not broken market structure, right? Obviously, locally here, you have gotten the breakdown. But overall, right, it's like you could say, oh, my God, like we can hold a higher low on that golden pocket 786 for a bounce and a higher low and a higher high to maintain those higher low, higher high structures. However, all these Fibonacci retracements are not created equal, guys. And I know I've done this a million times on the show, but I think it's important. It's the same thing here. Just because you have that Fibonacci retracement, sure, you can look for the low, the higher low, and the higher high, but is it a high probability? Not really, because of your money flow coming into the red. So again, I don't want to harp on this money flow too much, but you know, I feel like I have to kind of justify why I look for what I look at, because a lot of people don't want to, they don't want to entertain the bearish case, right? So, you know, this is why I'm very suspicious here. Like, is this going to be the higher low, even if we have to come down to that 786 for a higher high? Well, sure, you could keep your higher low, higher high structure, but with all your money flow coming out here, even on the weekly, your money flow is starting to pop out here. 6-day money flow now getting eerily close to crossing over that zero line. These are high time frame money flow crossovers, guys. High time frame yellow X's, high time frame money flow crossovers, and you're testing macro support. So, you know, when I want to see a higher low and a higher high, what do I want to see? I want to see money flow crossing into the green. We literally have the opposite there, and this is why it's worrisome, right? Like, if I was not looking at money flow, sure, I could look for a higher low here, but the money flow kind of helps me know, well, hey, is this overall trend going to continue up? Well, we've had this money flow in the green pretty much ever since the bottom of the bear market. Massive green wave, and this is now generally over time trending to the downside with a crossover into the red here on the 5-day. If you look at our last 5-day money flow crossover in the last cycle, you essentially were in the green minus the black swan event ever since the bottom came in. You had your big money flow wave on the 5-day, and then eventually, once it starts crossing over, that is kind of your first warning sign that you might not be able to continue the macro trend. Money flow is no longer in the green. This is what we use for our filter to understand whether we should be looking to buy the dips for massive moves up, or we should be more focused on selling the rip, selling the rip, selling the rip, selling the rip for a massive downtrend to continue. And of course, if we mark this out, right, like our 6-day money flow, very similar price action here with our 5-day money flow looking across or starting to cross over into the red. It's very similar here, right? It's not like we have tons of money flow crossovers into the red and the green throughout the move to the upside, right? Pretty much stays in the green the entire bull market. And then once you start crossing into the red, that's kind of your first big warning sign, right? 5-day money flow crosses into the red here. And then, of course, the big sign that you look for is that weekly money flow crossover, which, of course, is going to take a little bit longer because it's a higher time frame. And you can see that weekly money flow crosses over right here, giving you that last opportunity to see that bigger dump coming in. So there's the 5-day money flow crossover. There's the weekly money flow crossover. Here is our 5-day money flow. Whoops. Here is our 5-day money flow crossover. Maybe the weekly, obviously the weekly's still in the green here, but it's going to take a little bit more time to continue out, very similar to what I just showed you. And then maybe later on we see that money flow crossover on the weekly, which has every single time indicated the bear market coming in. You can see it again, right back here, crosses into the red. That means your high time frame trend is more likely to continue down, which is why I didn't look for higher lows there. And indeed, I was looking for lower highs and lower lows. So same thing here. Technically, you haven't broken structure, right? But the probability of this holding, in my opinion, is just based off money flow is less probable, right? Not impossible, but less probable. Just like the bounces yesterday and throughout the past few weeks and months, these bounces are getting harder and harder to look at and say, hey, I think this is going to be the bottom before new all-time highs. We just don't have the signs on money flow. But at the end of the day, this is still support. We can still see a bounce. And on some of the lower time frames, maybe we see a little bit of confirmation. I'm not holding any long positions just yet, but we do have some like 45-minute bull divs, which we're trying to print here. 1 hour bull div did actually end up confirming lower high or lower lows, higher lows. But again, all your money flow is pointing in the wrong direction. It is all coming out. All bull divs are not created equal, guys. A bull div on the daily or a bull div on the 1 hour with money flow coming out is not the same thing as a bull div on the hourly with money flow coming up, right? Like, sure, it can give you a little bounce, but again, I just don't know how high it's going to go. And I'm going to bring up those local levels of resistance in just a second. I'm going to come into chat. I just saw Super Chat come in. But yeah, guys, I am being very careful down here. It's, again, and even yesterday, right? Like, we look at these targets, they sound crazy until we get to them, right? So yeah, let me come back in the chat real quick. Shout out to MK Crypto, says bing bong. Shout out to you, brother. We're gonna make it through it, guys. We're gonna make it through this. But shout out to Mad Ads. What is going on, bro? Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Frankie, what is the average pullback during a bear market? I looked back and saw an average of 77 to 80% pullback. Is that true? Yes. Shout out to Mad Ads. It's funny, when we start to talk about this, obviously, as price action develops, we can keep an eye on it. But yeah, I would say between 77 and 80%, 70 and 80% even is the general pullback. From all-time high, 70% would bring you to about 37K. Are we going to get down there? We'll have to see how things develop, but that's kind of how I eyeball it, right? If you come up to the Bitstamp chart here real quick, you can see, wow, my YouTube studio looks super weird right now. But yeah, when we look at this, right, I kind of just measure the drops in the bear markets and you kind of average them out, right? As these cycles continue, there is a little bit of there's diminished returns, right? But there's also diminished drawdown. So, this was the biggest drop. This was a little less, I believe, and then this was a little less, which makes a lot of sense as the asset matures. The drops and the rips and the dips get less and less dramatic, right? So maybe it's a little less than 77%, which is what the drop in the last bear market was. But we'll keep an eye on that, right? I just kind of eyeball it, and then as we get closer, we can start to look for signals. We'll obviously be looking at our key levels of support. I would assume if we are going to go into a bear market, this volume profile from the 2021 bull market is going to be an absolutely big zone to be looking at, which really does sit here between about $49,500 and $30,000, right? So if we do wind up getting a big breakdown, and I'm going to show you guys something from a volume view, right? If we wind up losing these lows at $75,000, I think we could see a very fast drop to the downside. And then, as we get closer, we could start bringing up, we'll also have some upper support as well, right? We have this value. Obviously, this value is, we're almost at the bottom of it, right? But if we lose this, where's the next place? We'll bring up all those levels. But yeah, 80 to 70% is really generally what it is. So I kind of just eyeball. It's a little bit hard to say, is it guaranteed going to be exactly 3% less than the last cycle? Less than the last cycle, that's kind of hard to say. Shout out to PSP Gaming, says, it's the top in. Well, guys, I always say this. I will always stand true in my analysis, right? The only time I'm ever going to change my bias is if the chart tells me to. And even back in the day, I say back in the day, but a couple of months ago, right? If we pull up this macro volume profile, it's hey guys, what if, let's cover the bearish case real quick. What if we lose this level and we start pushing down through this profile, which would be expected based off money flow and the volume profiles, right? This is not unexpected. This is why I'm so happy. Yesterday I got some heat for saying we were probably going down to $94,000. And of course, here we are, right? But there's reason for this. And even when we were up here saying, hey, if we do come down here and fill this, as you would expect, volume profiles are goated. But, if we're looking for bounces here, is this somewhere where I would look for a bounce for all-time highs? And that's kind of where I try to front run what money flow would look like. And it's the only thing I can kind of predict here is well, hey, if we get this drop down, all this money flow is probably going to continue out, indicating the overall downtrend is going to continue on the higher time frames. And here we are at the key level of support with money flow coming out. And I have to say exactly what I thought I would have to say, which is probably going to be treating all of these bounces as lackluster retracements, which could potentially be this is something we're going to talk about in a second for that potential altcoin pop scenario. Are we going to get the retrace? We're going to have to look at these as lackluster retracements, lower highs, and lower lows to come. Our next big key level, if we do not hold these local levels down here between 94,159 and 91,400, if we can't hold this value area low, which I would expect some kind of reaction here, to be honest with you guys, maybe we dig a little deeper into the zone, and then maybe we can get a little bit of a bounce and hopefully some kind of a significant retracement, which we can hopefully see Bitcoin dominance drop on that retracement to see the altcoins kind of outperform, get that rotation of Bitcoin profit into the altcoins. But if we lose this, right, the next area that I can look down to, the only other place where we have significant support, even if you're not looking at the volume profiles, I'm going to leave it on here for a second, but if we pull up all our MPOCs, right, why was I not as interested in this point of control right here? There's no confluence. That's why I say the real area that I'm interested in is this blue box. And sure enough, we melt right through that POC and we come down to this box, right? Now, if we cannot hold this, I have to say, there's nothing underneath us here. And as I always say, fast moves up oftentimes lead to fast moves down. And when we take a look at the visible range volume profile, which I absolutely love, it's very visual, it's very easy to understand. You can see we have a pretty large volume gap here. Zoom out a little bit. We have a pretty large volume gap here. All the high volume nodes are up here, and then you have this big old gap leading you all the way down to the next highest volume node, which is sitting on all this next support. We have no dailies, we have no weeklies, we have no horizontal support here, and as a matter of fact, there's not even that much volume, right? High volume, low volume. You have a little spike in volume right here, so I would say if you lose this level, probably going to fly through this low volume gap, targeting the 786, which again is confluent with that high volume node, sitting between $85,000 and $82,000. Now, is it possible if we don't get a higher low here, and again, even if we get a bounce here, my base case is not a higher low and a higher high based off the money flow. I hope that's clear. Money flow is absolutely pointing in the opposite direction. It's why we weren't looking for moonshot longs here. It's why we were looking for shorts up here, right? It's why we were not looking for moonshot longs here. It's why we were been expecting this move to the downside. Money flow is so simple and so reliable. So again, maybe we get the bounce here for a retracement, but down here, sure, there's support here. We can look for the longs, but again, until we get above, honestly, the 50-week moving average at $103,000, guys, I am going to be looking to fade the highs for lower prices to come based off everything I've just brought up, and I've been bringing up over the past few streams, right? Or many streams, I should say. And then you could just see there's no volume here. Fast moves up equal fast moves down. So it is like absolutely critical that we hold this level if you want some kind of a retracement. And then once we come down and we lose it, I'm probably going to be expecting a fast drop through what we have, a fast drop through here, which is nothing, right? We have no levels in there and no volume. So probably going to be a fast drop down to fill this kind of inefficiency here into the next key level of support. And then even here, right? It's like if I had to just randomly draw this without being accurate to the exact price levels, it's like lower high, lower low. Can't hold this. Lower high, lower low, right? And eventually, if we lose $75,000, guys, it's like there's still not a lot underneath us until we come down to these lower levels in the high 60s to low 70s. Not great. Not great. If I were to come up with some like crazy bullish hopium scenario, it's just that all the TA doesn't matter, and we just get the bounce here for a higher low on the golden pocket and a higher high, which again structurally makes sense, but just from a money flow perspective, from a trend perspective, I mean, I think everybody can agree here that Bitcoin has been struggling for a while, but like look at this downtrend. I mean, high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This is a super clean downtrend. And when this money flow on the higher time frames is just starting to cross into the red, it could mean that the bigger downtrend is just getting started. Now, like I said, you do have some low time frame bullish divergences down here. If we do get a bounce, maybe we get a retracement, but that is exactly what I will view it as a retracement. Again, I'll go over the key levels of resistance I'll be looking at. But at the end of the day, right, if we're below that 50-week moving average, look back to any cycle. As long as you're below that 50-week moving average, you are much better off looking for the lower highs and lower lows. Come on over to 2021. Once you lose that 50-week, I mean, we're on the 6 hour right now, so obviously you played around with this, but if we come up to a higher time frame, we'll take a look at the weekly. Whoops. All right, once you get below that, it's like there's not one time on the chart that I can point to where we were able to break down below this decisively with multiple weekly candles and then being able to just get back above it to continue up, especially with all the money flow coming out. So until we get above that $103,000 50-week moving average, I am going to be looking for lower highs and lower lows. And to be honest, there is some confluence up there at 103K. So if we did get a big retracement from this golden pocket, if we did push up to 103K, that's a really, really big level of resistance that we need to be looking at. So let me cover some of those resistance levels with you guys. Very simply put, let me hide the daily MPOCs and stuff. Very simply, $103,000. I'll even hide the macro volume profile. If we do wind up getting back to 103K, that's like a major, major level of resistance. And this isn't even the level that if we flip, I'm like, oh my God, all-time highs, right? We have all this bigger resistance above us still. And again, it's like if money flow was coming up, right, and crossing into the green, I would be more confident in being able to bust through all these levels and flip them into support, right? Getting back up above here, flipping them to support. It's just not on the charts. But $103,000 is going to be a really, really big, major level to look at. And then we have some other local levels as well. Let me pull some of this up. I'll hide this. Let me come on down to a lower time frame. So locally, $103,000. You guys can see some of the confluence here. These are going to be the local levels I'm looking at. If we do get a retracement from where we're at right now, right here, about 100,300. If we could flip that to support, that could push us up into that 50-week moving average where we also pull this real quick, and let me get rid of this anchored VWAP. So 50-week moving average, I'm just going to take this off. It's at 103K. But right now, whether you pull this fib or if you pull it from this high, right, or whoops, even if you pull it from the absolute high. You have the golden pocket, the $103,000 50-week moving average, the POC, and then just underneath that, you also have your golden pocket anchored VWAP, right? So sitting right here between about 100,400. If we can get a retracement, right? Let's say we get a bigger pop up here. This is going to be key level number 1 locally. If we could flip that to support, this is your first major level, $103,000, 50-week moving average. Definitely interested in rejections here. If we can flip that to support, maybe, just maybe, we can get back above this 786 in value area high. That would be the next target. Once we get above that, we can look to take out the highs, which, of course, is just going to bring us back into our major level of resistance at 108K, right? So these are all local levels. These are the levels I'm going to be looking at if we get a local bounce to potentially be looking for shorts back down. But if we get above that 786 / value area high, sitting at $104,600, that's where maybe we can come out and take these highs into 108K. But from a high time frame perspective, guys, very simply, I don't want to cover like too many like super hyper local levels. We pay more attention to that in the premium Discord because, of course, we're looking for the trades. But, you know, level number 1, 50-week moving average, 103K. We can get above that, $108,000. Once we flip above that, of course, we still have resistance above, but like this is really the major level. If we can't get out of this volume profile, there's no reason to be looking for higher targets. And I would say, you know, the biggest macro level, if we get a bigger retracement, is probably going to be $103,000. Pull your fib from the high to the low. There's your golden pocket, 786 confluence, right? So from a very simple perspective, if we get a big retracement, right, and we're lucky enough to get back up here, this is huge, important resistance, right? Especially if you want to get above this, you want to get above it before Sunday's candle close on the weekly, right? And then that, you know, because right now it's not looking very good to get back above the 50-week moving average, which we know is a very bearish sign for Bitcoin in the long term. So this is the big level to look at. If we get some kind of huge retracement over the weekend, like this is the level to get above. Once we get above that, you got one more order of business up here at 108K. And then once we get in there, we still have more resistance, to be honest, right? But you know, I don't expect this massive move over the weekend. If we get it, I mean, hey, more power to the bulls. But you know, I don't want to cover every level, right? We also have the 786 at 121K or whatever. But you know, this is going to be the major levels. But you know, from a volume profile perspective, of course, locally we have other levels we can look at. You know, POC can act as a magnet. If we can't just reclaim this, you know, value area low is going to be massive to look at. And again, I'm not holding any longs. I'm going to let things settle out down here a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it's not surprising, but you know, again, all the signs we've been looking for have been pointing towards this, so it's not really super shocking. Let me come back into the chat here real quick. Okay, so shout out to Valerie, said it doesn't look like we're going to have an alt season this year. Shout out to Valerie, welcome. And shout out to the female CandleMafia, the elite, like I think 5 CandleMafia members that are female. Shout out to Mad Ads. Thank you for the gifted memberships. Let's go. Shout out to Mad Ads. Let's get it. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much. Getting people some of these memberships. Drop a, we don't have a Mad Ads emoji, but drop a golden emoji if you just got a membership. Oh, hang on. Speaking of golden, hang on a second. Shout out to Golden. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Said, when you wish and really want something to happen, that's when it will never happen. Selling today, preparing for crypto winter. Shout out to Golden. That is, dang. Shout out to Golden. All right, there we go. But I would agree. Shout out to Golden. Yeah, you know, it doesn't matter what we want. We have to trade the market that we have. And, yeah, more often than not, what you want. The market does not care what you want, right? And, of course, even a big retracement. Again, I'm going to talk about this retracement and what it could mean for altcoins. But, yeah, shout out to Golden. Shout out to Cryptito, said, wait a sec. Let me put in my shorts. Shout out to Cryptito. And shout out to Golden. Man. Yeah, well, I mean, we could have used that as a bullish case if Golden was like, don't worry, guys. But Golden seems like he's on the side of the charts today. So shout out to Golden, man. Let's see. ETH still holding a higher low from the beginning of November. Yeah, shout out to 12 Big. And again, of course, like it's not that market structure doesn't matter. Obviously, it does. But when we look at Ethereum, right, I'll pull it up right now. What do you say? Holding a higher low from where? From November 1st. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? I'm actually not 100% sure exactly what you're talking about, 12. But, all higher lows and higher highs are not created equal, right? It's like the same thing on Bitcoin. It's like, sure, you could put the higher low here on the golden pocket for a higher high, but again, money flow would not be pointing towards that. Eventually, a higher low is not going to come in, right? Just like I showed in 2021. It's like you had the levels here for the higher low, but money flow is pointing in the wrong direction. Sure, you get a bounce, right? And it is a sizable retracement. And I'll be honest, guys, like this is kind of what we're hoping for, right? Like if I pull up this overall volume profile, actually, let me pull it before the breakdown, right? Like you get down to that value area low, like this is kind of your best chance for a bounce, and you do get a retracement, a sizable retracement of about 40-ish, 45%. And this is kind of what we're hoping for from this level. Now, if we can get this retracement, whether it's from the top of the level that we're tapping now, or we have to go down to the value area low at 91.4, if we get the retracement, what we're hoping for is a retracement on declining Bitcoin dominance, right? And if we could get that, there is a chance, right? Like the two kind of scenarios that we've been looking at for a potential alt season to come in is either to have Bitcoin dominance, or Bitcoin either ripping into new all-time highs, right? Dominance starts to drop. People are dropping their profits into the altcoins, or we come down, we go for the retracement, and then the Bitcoin dominance winds up dumping on that retracement to the upside, and then the alts are doing well, right? And that would, unfortunately, like I said yesterday, if you're hoping for that, you are saying, right, that very likely the top of Bitcoin is in, right? So yeah, that's kind of the argument, right? It's kind of the same thing that we talked about yesterday and the day before and the day before. But the difference here at this point is the fact that we are at the levels, right? Now, again, maybe we go down to the value area low a little bit. Maybe we bounce from the top of the golden pocket. But the hope is that we can get this, some kind of retracement here. So we're going to see what this does over the weekend. If we can get that retracement, we're hoping it happens on declining dominance, and hopefully that can help the altcoins, right? And that kind of puts you in that traditional situation where Bitcoin puts in the top, people start rolling their profits into altcoins, and then the altcoins kind of rally a little bit later. And hopefully that's the case, right? That is the argument for alt season, or some kind of an alt season. But I do want to be clear. This does not necessarily mean that we're going to see a blow-off alt season, the golden alt season that everybody wants to see. I would view this, I was talking to the premium Discord earlier today, I would view that more as just like a rotational alt season, very similar to what we had back here. This is not, right, in 2021, when we had Bitcoin absolutely smashing through this bull market, we have massive money printing, right? And when you have massive money printing, this puts risk on assets, which of course all of crypto is risk on, but the altcoins much more risk on than Bitcoin. When we have the massive money printing, right, that puts the riskier assets in an environment that is easy for them to do well. We didn't have that here in this cycle, right? Which is probably why a lot of the altcoins have been muted this entire cycle, other than right here. Right here, once we wound up getting like the real breakout of the previous all-time highs, that's where you see, but again, even this was more of like a rotational alt season. It's not massive liquidity being injected into the market. It's more of just, oh, Bitcoin's ripping, let's now go take some profit and buy some altcoins. And then you see the altcoins pop to the upside. I think it would be very similar, more of a rotational alt season rather than a money printing, risk on assets or flying type of golden alt season that everybody looks for. I'm not saying it's impossible. Maybe they announce money printing and everything changes and we wind up continuing to the upside and everything explodes. But for Bitcoin to make a new all-time high here, guys, I've said this many a times. We get down here and money flow is coming out, right? And I just come to the charts. I don't want to say this. I just come to the charts. All right, well, now we're back down at the level. What does money flow look like? This is when I always say, like, when we get down here, we'll have to look at money flow. Well, it's doing exactly what we expected, right? Which isn't hard to predict, right? Like, money flow is coming into the red. It's hard for me to say this looks good for massive new all-time highs. It doesn't look good. It really does not look good. So that's what we're looking for. That's the hope for alt season. I will take a look at some other altcoins, or actually some specific altcoins. But, again, it's like there's not going to be a lot of things that I can see on one altcoin, right? There's going to be outliers. Maybe some stuff will do well. Maybe some stuff won't move. But for the most part, right, like that's going to go for all altcoins for the most part. Let's see. Shout out to Jason, says, sadly, the 4-year is in place, but without alt seasons. Yeah. And you have to understand, like, there's things that are different here, right? Like, everybody just calls, like, well, typically around these months we see alt season, right? But, like, the thing here is every cycle is not the same, right? Again, the macro environment here was much different than the macro environment that we're in now. Now, maybe we wind up going into a situation like this where they start aggressively printing money and that helps the risk on assets. But again, it's like, it's a big when, right? Like, we don't know exactly when that will happen. And at the end of the day, even if they are going to do that, unless it's a black swan where they come out of nowhere and they're like, oh my God, money printing, these bearish signs, whether this is going to be a full-blown bear market or not, which it is looking likely if we can't get back above that 50-week moving average, that the top is more likely and more likely in on Bitcoin here at 126K. But and I'm not here to spread fear. As you guys know, I'm agnostic. I have no ego. I'm not saying that guarantees has to happen, but hopefully presenting all these evidence pieces to you, it's like, come to your own conclusion. And it's just, that's exactly what I do. And it's just hard for me to come to a different conclusion. But even if it's not going to be a full-blown bear market, it still doesn't change the fact that we have all these bearish signs. Like, let's just assume we're not going into a bear market. Like, all these bearish signs are still here. They have played out so far. Right? Everyone's like, oh, this time's different. Like, money flow doesn't matter, right? Like, well, it kind of seems like it does, right? So it's like, even if this isn't going to be a bear market, like, we still have all these bearish signs on the chart. And regardless of where we were in the cycle, even if we were back here and we saw the chart looking like this, I would still, even if I wasn't looking for the bear market, I would still be calling for lower highs and lower lows and lower highs and lower lows for the continuation of the downtrend. The problem here is the timing of the cycle. It's typically not great when we lose that 50-week moving average this late. So it's just the information that I'm taking in, and I got to make these decisions as well, guys, right? Like, so I don't want anyone ever thinking I'm just like a perma bear for no reason, right? Shout out to Golden. Oh my God! Shout out to Golden. Said my coins are in transit. I'll be selling in about an hour. Golden, if the market absolutely nukes in an hour, that's crazy. That's crazy. Shout out to Golden. Well, if it dumps in the next hour, guys, we might know maybe why that could have happened. Shout out to Golden, bro. Insane. Let's see. Shout out to It's Crypto. Says, bro, everything is changing, including the cycle. Yeah, I'm in the camp that the cycles will change over time. It's just, when they print money, right? I don't know, who knows, right? Maybe we get the drop down to 81K, they announce money printing, and it's a higher low and a higher high, and then the cycle's completely different, right? It's just really hard for me to call that because it's just not on the charts, right? What I think probably is a little more likely is that we kind of, I think, like, the camp that I'm in is that we kind of see things, like, rhyme just a little less than previous cycles, right? Like, maybe this is still the mark of a significant top, whether it's a traditional 75% dump in the bear market or not, right? Whether you're paying attention to the 4-year cycles or not, the chart looks bearish. Still, unless something changes, very likely to see the continuation of the downtrend. And then maybe it's a little bit of a muted bear market. And then eventually when they start printing money, if it happens in 2026, maybe we see like an early pop and a muted bear market, and we see an earlier start to the push to the upside next cycle. But again, it's a big if, right? Like, if they cut rates tomorrow, if they start printing money tomorrow, some random announcement, it's like, all right, well, maybe we just bottom out here. But unless that happens, the chart looks bad, right? That's just the case. Doesn't have to play out, right? But again, chart has been looking bad for quite some time. And I always say, like, I hope it's not true, right? I hope it doesn't play out, but it just winds up playing out more often than it doesn't. So just keep that in the back of your head. Shout out to Skizzle. Said, there's no cycle like my girlfriend's cycle. Shout out to Skizzle. That's crazy, bro. What if we're all wrong? Shout out to Dave Hagen. It's definitely possible, right? I've been wrong before. I will be wrong again. We're right way more than we're wrong, that's for sure. But, at the end of the day, guys, like, if things look totally different, if we come back here on Monday and we are getting a massive bounce and all the money flow is flipping back up and things look super, super good, we'll see it on the chart. And we'll be able to be like, all right, well, now things are different. But until then, the higher probability is to just listen to the charts, which has played out very well so far, right? I think, I feel it, right? Like, every time I go live, I'm like, oh, man, why does all this money flow have to be coming out? Like, I don't want to say this on the stream, right? Like, it's not my favorite thing to talk about the bearish case. But again, I am at mercy of the charts. And I'm very glad that I haven't just been giving false hopium. Like, don't worry, guys. Money flow coming out, it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't matter. It's higher probability that the charts fake out. This is why I always go with the higher probability being the charts. And sometimes the charts won't play out, but I would say 8 out of 10 times the charts are going to be right. And I'm very glad that I've stuck with that sentiment, right? Because I've been, when I come up here and talk about my opinions, you should never make decisions based off of what some crazy guy screaming on YouTube says. But it's like, I'm very glad that I haven't just been giving bullish hopium. Like, don't worry, guys. Like, Bitcoin's more bullish than ever. Whatever the narrative is, like, don't worry, right? But when the charts point down, like, I just have no option, right? If the charts look bullish, I have to say they're bullish. If they look bearish, I have to say they're bearish. I don't let any of my emotional biases come in, right? I have an emotional bias for price to continue to go up too. I just have to control my emotions and not use that as my base case because I know it's the lower probability. The market does not care about what you want. The market does not care about giving you alt season. I really do think that there's this like mystical thought of the Bitcoin cycle, and people are just like, well, like, you know, we have to have alt season. Like alt season always happens. Like, I don't know, like that's not true, right? Like if the macroeconomic environment does not provide you an environment that can facilitate an alt season, it's probably not going to happen. It doesn't matter what happened last time. It doesn't matter what month it is. It doesn't matter. The narratives don't matter, right? So with that being said, if they print money, maybe that changes, right? Like who knows, right? Something totally different can happen. We've seen crazy things happen in this market, and although the cycles do rhyme, they don't always repeat one-to-one, right? There's always a little bit of a quirk, right? We got massive blow-off tops, massive blow-off top, double top, right? Like this was kind of unexpected, the double top, right? That was something that was totally different than previous cycles. Here, we put in an all-time high before the halving. Excuse me. It's a little bit of a quirk of the cycle, right? Doesn't mean it's totally different, right? It's just a little bit of a quirk. So who knows? Maybe we see some kind of like, maybe whenever they start printing money, we see some kind of like random altcoin pop to the upside out of nowhere. And we'll just come up here and be like, well, hey guys, they started printing money. All the charts look really good. Maybe we can have a little bit of an alt season right now. But until that's on the charts, it's just very hard to call for. Let's see. When everybody's expecting downside, alts go downside, but everyone is expecting upside, still alts go to the downside. Shout out to Barnov. I actually explained that yesterday. It's like, you know, whatever the masses think, like I think a lot of people like get off on saying like, oh, everyone's bullish, I'm bearish. I don't let that decide my bias. My bias is always based off the charts. It just so happens that when I am bearish, it's off technicals, right? People are just naturally bullish, right? Like if we took a short here at literally at the all-time high almost. I'm bearish because of the chart, right? I entered this based off technical factors. I didn't like hear a news event. I wasn't like paying attention to narratives. I wasn't even really paying attention to the timing of the cycle or anything, right? Like I just see the confirmations. I take the short. So when everyone, and what are most people going to think? Oh my God, Bitcoin is mooning. Bitcoin is up, 15% in X amount of time. This is bullish. We're pumping. Oh my God, we're so back. But what do we do on pumps, right? Well, if we see the short setup, those green candles are what we look to short. Right? Now, if there's no signal, well, then, hey, we're probably long from the low, looking to hold it higher. But it just so happens that oftentimes when there's bearish signs on the chart, to complete those bearish confirmations, you need a push to the upside, which gets everyone excited. So it just so happens that when you have bearish signs on the chart, usually most people are very bullish, right? But if the chart looks bearish and the masses are bearish, well, I'm probably just on the side of the masses because I'm just listening to the chart alone anyway. Let's see. I think next is 75K. I mean, that is going to be the big level. Well, not really. I mean, we're kind of at the big level right now. But it is an important level, right? Because it is going to be the 7-8. It's the only other place where we have significant confluence, right? So, like, just the if this, then that is, well, hey, if this zone doesn't hold, right? If this zone does not hold, probably going to be a fast drop down to this zone. There's nothing here, right? So I would agree. If you can't hold this, $85 to $82,000 is next, and that's very close to the $75,000 low. If you can't hold the golden pocket, lose it. You're going to look to go down to the 786. If you can't hold this 786, we're looking to take out the lows. Now, what the retracements will look like in there is very hard to call, but just in general, this is your major zones of support to mark out on your chart here, just from a simple perspective. 94,159 to 91,409. Once you lose that, the next big zone to look down towards is 85,482 to 82,396. 82,396. Once we lose that, well, where's our next level, right? Maybe we have a daily MPOC down here at about 69K. But of course, you have this consolidation here, which, if we wind up losing these lows, you'll just see me pull up these levels, right? Oh, here's the volume profile. This is the next area of value. And again, back to the auction market theory. Right? The way I view the charts here, guys, based off value, the reason I do this is because it's so high probability. It's not just like magic. I'm not guessing. It's not just based off some arbitrary lines, right? Like, it's not like we're just drawing support and resistance saying, oh my God, there's support, we have to bounce. As a matter of fact, we have the support, and we're kind of suspicious about the bounce based off the other analysis. But when we look at this, right, where do you have value? I'm just going to pull this up clean, right? Here's your upper value. Here's your lower value. If you cannot hold inside this upper value and you impulse out of that value, where is price going to gravitate to? It's going to gravitate towards the previous area of value, very likely getting accepted in and filling the range in full. If we break out here and we get accepted, right? In the same way, right? It's not just the bearish case, right? If we pushed up here and we started flipping this value area low at 111 to 112K, well, then we could say we're now out of the lower value and potentially getting accepted into the upper value. Once we get up there, then we can look for a bigger move up into $116,000 to $120,000. But until then, we have to understand that this range has not filled in full and is the higher probability until we could break out and get accepted into the upper value. If you can't hold this, price is going to seek fair value. The fairest value is the POC, and eventually you will probably see the fill of the volume profile to the low. Now, in that same fashion, if we lose this value area, where's the next value area? Well, I'll actually argue you do have a little value down here, right? So you have a little local level down here. Where is this value area? It is confluent with those next key levels that we had horizontally after this big gap in volume, right? Now, once we lose that 75K low, we're just simply going to look down towards our next area of value. If you can't hold in here, you look to come play in here. If you lose this, ignoring the lower local value here, if you lose this and we start free falling, where's price going to gravitate to? It's going to gravitate to the closest area of fair value, right? So let's just, for example, say we break down out of this. We broke down here, got accepted in here. This fills in full. If we lose this, just let's ignore this level for just a second for the theory case. Where is price going to gravitate to? Well, if you can't hold that 786, you're going to gravitate to your next area of value. If you get stuck in here, you could be on your way down to 60K. It's just how the volume profiles work. This is why I love this tool, right? Like, if you're sitting there wondering, like, why have we been paying attention to these levels? I hate when Frankie Candles talks about these lower levels. Well, there's a reason for it. I just know it's higher probability, whether I like it or not, whether I want to believe it or not. I just know it's the higher probability. I've seen this play out many, many times, whether it's on the high time frame, the low time frames, the 1 minute, the 5 minute, even this local range up here. It's like, well, hey, once we deviate below, if we get accepted back in, let's shoot towards the POC. Deviate again, get back in, let's shoot towards the POC. Flip the POC, look to go to the high. Deviate above the high. If you get accepted back in, you look for the full fill of the range. This is literally how we trade. And it's very high probability and very simple, right? So locally, if we came down here and deviated below this low, you could look at this as undervalued price within the local price action. And you could say if we flip back in here, maybe we can get a push back up to the POC. If we could flip the POC, maybe you can go up to the high. And the way we could figure out if that full fill is high probability is based off money flow. So in this case, I think if you do get a bounce here, you're probably going to wind up putting in a lower high. You might not fill the range in full. But if you had money flow coming up, right, what's one thing we want to see for that full fill of the range? We'll just look back here. Last time we dropped down to 75K, we had the massive bullish divergences. Once we started breaking above this trend line, what did we have? We had money flow crossing into the green. What does that mean, right? There's two things I wanted to see here to indicate that we would see this full fill into new all-time highs. We wanted to see the flip of the value area low, which you did get, but what's your money flow doing? It's in a big red wave crossing into the green. So that lets you know you're getting accepted into value and you have money flow on your side to push you into the POC. When money flows in the green, you look for higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. The laws of the volume profile called for the full fill, and the money flows crossing into the green. Now, we don't have that currently, right? Currently, if we look at this, if we lose this range, what would we very more likely have, right? Well, if we did have to come down here, if and when, well, look at your 2-day money flow. 2-day money flows crossing into the red. What does that point towards? Lower highs, lower lows. And we already covered those local levels of resistance on the way back up. So that's just like simple volume profile stuff, right? And even locally, we are building value lower. This is generally bearish, right? Doesn't mean you can't break. It doesn't mean you can't break back up, right? But you have your value here. You have your little local value here. You now have a lower value area, and you build value here, lower value area. This is, bearish, aka downtrend. So hopefully this gives you guys some insight on like what I look for on the volume profiles and why I trust them so much, right? Like, it's not just because I'm trying this for the first time and I think it's going to play out. I've seen these things play out time and time again. Again, whether it's on a higher time frame, you could even look at the same thing on the lower time frames. Just like if we come down to the 1 hour, right? It's like, well, hey, if I just look at this price action, bare bones, if I pull this volume profile, well, guess what? If we get the push up and we can flip this value area low in POC, now I can look up towards that value area high. Right? But that doesn't take you out of the higher time frame context, right? Even if you get up there, you're still inside the larger profile. So we'll see, guys. Hopefully we can get out of here. I hope we can. But just to give you guys an idea of why I look for this stuff and the reason behind it. Do I think? Shout out to Jay Smith said, do you think all season was last December? Talked about this yesterday, actually, Jay. Yeah, I mean, listen, it would make a lot of sense, right? Like, this was because when do we see alt season normally, right? It's either when you're breaking out right? And then Bitcoin dominance falls. Bitcoin's either like pumping, right? And then the dominance falls, it goes into the altcoins, or Bitcoin is already put in a top and you get the retracement and then those profits push into the altcoins. So yeah, I mean, this was, in my opinion, this is the only place I can look to this cycle to say this was when we had some kind of an alt season. And I know a lot of people are being like, dude, you know, you said you've been in crypto. If you think this is alt season, I don't know if you've been in crypto. And it's like, yes, but you have to understand this environment is much different, right? Like this alt season, why was this so muted? Well, it's probably because we didn't have the money printer going nuts, right? We are not in an environment. We were not in an environment here to see the blow off God tier alt season, right? It's just not in the right environment. We're not in an environment that facilitates growth in risk on assets. And when you have an alt season without the money printing, what are you going to see? Well, you're going to see the altcoins move up, but they're just not going to be those God pumps to massive new all-time highs like you would hope for, right? Because you don't have that environment that facilitates the risk on assets doing well, like we had in 2021. It was a much different situation. So, you know, that's the only place I can point to. And to be honest, I've said this from a sentiment standpoint as well. This is the only time where I've had any kind of normie interest from my personal life, right? Like friends, family, cousins, uncles, aunts. Hey, man, like I see, you know, Bitcoin's pumping, altcoins are pumping. Like, what altcoin should I buy? And, I mean, we could even just pull up, I don't know. Let's pull up an altcoin up on top of this. I don't know, maybe Link. Link might not be the best example, but probably Show. Right? There's the run. Right? Now, would this be super disappointing if that was the alt season this cycle? Yes. Absolutely. But does the fact that this alt season was disappointing, does that mean that you just still have to have alt season because we have to have alt season? Not necessarily, right? Now, if they start printing money, maybe we do see the blow-off alt season, right? But we just don't have that yet. So, yes, I mean, I would say that's probably the closest we've gotten to an alt season. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, that's kind of my thought process. I mean, it's definitely like some kind of an alt season. Even if you take a look at Bitcoin dominance, right? Like this was when we were coming up to retest our value area low, macro golden pocket. We saw the weakness here on dominance. In the premium Discord, we actually had a lot of targets set on a lot of altcoins, and almost all those altcoins hit those targets. They didn't go into the all-time, a lot of them didn't go into the all-time high targets, but they went into like the retracement targets. And then the hope was eventually we'd get into a better environment to see a real alt season. And just maybe that just hasn't happened yet. Maybe we just have to wait for the money printing. Maybe it'll come late. Maybe we'll get a super late alt season out of nowhere, but that's impossible to predict, right? So I'm just trying to explain, right, like why you might have seen, you know, I think a big question is like, there's no way that was alt season, right? But if we had massive money printing here, the alt season probably would have been a lot crazier. It's just a different environment, right? And like that just is what it is. So it's like when you say this time is different, there's just got to be a reason for it, right? And that is something that has been a little bit different. So, you know, the whole vibe of this cycle is like, why are the altcoins not moving? Bitcoin is pumping. Why are the altcoins not moving? Why are the altcoins not moving? Well, the altcoins are much more risk on than Bitcoin. And without money printing, again, facilitating that environment that is good for risk on assets, it's going to mute down those altcoins, right? Might be why we didn't see the RTY breakout yet either, right? Like you look at the RTY, which is essentially like looking at the altcoin market on the stocks, right? It's like maybe that's why we haven't seen that break to the upside. Maybe once they get money printing, maybe we have to go for a bigger correction or something like that, and then they start printing money, and then that stuff starts doing good. But it's just like these arbitrary, like, oh, alt season has to happen on this time because that's usually when it happens. Like, you could look at that, but if you're in a totally different situation macroeconomically, you can't really compare one to one, right? Like, what were a lot of people talking about down here on this liquidation wick? Like, this was just like 2020. This is just like 2020. They're going to liquidate it, and then it's going back up. This is it. And it's like not the same situation, right? Like, back here, we were in a bear market with that big liquidation, and you could say to yourself, well, hey, you know, I know a lot of people are saying like, well, you could kind of shift the 4-year cycle. It's like if you move it to like, this is looking a lot like 2019, 2020, where you get the big liquidation and then boom, look what happened after that. But we had two major things here. We weren't even, the halving hadn't even happened here yet, I don't believe. I think it was after this, right? So you have the whole halving and the expected quote unquote 4-year cycle bear market ahead of you, and you had massive money printing. You know, it's like a perfect storm of many things that cause that big move. This is not the same, right? You can't really compare this one to one. You could compare those aspects of it, right? You could say, well, hey, you had a big liquidation, and then money printing happens and you get a big move up, right? Well, that could have been an argument here. If you had the big liquidation and then they started printing money, then maybe you see the cycle change, and then those things do line up. But it's not a perfect storm, right? This liquidation is coming off of Bitcoin making a massive new all-time high, or not, I wouldn't say massive new all-time high, but making a major high, right? Putting in a new all-time high. This is different. This liquidation, like, we don't have the start of the bull market here. We don't have massive money printing at least happening yet, right? So, like, it's not comparable one-to-one. I can get why you compare it somewhat, but it's just not a one-to-one comparison, right? You're in a bear market. You have so many reasons to expect this to go up. Last shakeout, right, before the bull market. This is like, sure, maybe the last shakeout, but, like, you're not expecting, like, the halving's not happening right here, and then you're expecting a big move up. So maybe part of that comes true, right? Maybe it's like we get, massive downside and then they start printing money and then boom, right? But when is that going to happen? It would be hilarious if it lines up with if it just lines up with the 4-year cycle. We go down and then eventually, I actually was looking at this with the premium Discord. If you look from the, if you take a look at the, where is it? The tops to the bottoms, right? Like 364 days, 378 days. If you kind of round that off, say 371-ish days, right? It would be really crazy if we don't get money printing, right? And then we come down, and then eventually they start printing money like right here, right? That would just be hilarious. I don't know if that's the case, right? At the end of the day, I don't know. If they start printing money earlier, maybe this is way shorter. I don't know. So just some things to look at, right? Like, they rhyme. The cycles definitely rhyme here. And you can see here over time, I guess not really. But yeah, 413 days, 364 days, 378 days. I was going to say it gets a little shorter and shorter every cycle, but technically this one was longer than that one, so not really true. But it is all around the same times. Shout out to AP Cool J. Says, I will never stop watching, Frankie. Shout out to you, brother. You're welcome in anytime you want, brother. We'll be here. Bull market, bear market, because, guys, guess what? If this is the bear market, right, if it all goes bad, this is the bear market, guess what? There's tons of money to be had shorting this thing to the downside. And to be honest, I recommend, if you're interested in trading, right, if you don't want to trade, then, all power to you. But if you wanted to learn how to trade, guys, this could be the thing, right? Like, if you learn how to trade within a bear market, obviously you're going to have the volatility to the downside, which is plenty of room to make money. But also what this will do is keep you engaged in the market during the time where most people walk away, which is the biggest mistake that anybody can make in crypto. It's the bear market. I'll come back next time. No. I said this last bear market, right? I basically started my channel right here. Literally the start of the bear market. And my motto was, if you want to make money in crypto, this is not the time to walk away. This is the time to quadruple down on your research, quadruple down on learning how to trade, to pay the most attention. That way, if you just want to walk away and come back next cycle, well, guess what you're going to do? You're going to come back when Bitcoin's in the news, making new all-time highs, and you're going to get in late. If you stay in on the bear market and you're focused on either learning how to trade or you're just getting in the trenches in the bear market, this is where the money is made, not up here. You want to make your decisions down here and enjoy the gains, not wait for Bitcoin to enter another bull market, which is probably going to be not too late, right? Like, obviously you did have another 67% bump to the upside here if you bought in at the top. But, think about how much more beneficial that would be if you were paying attention when everyone should, which is in the trenches of the bear market, right? You could turn that 67% into 560%, right? So that's my 2 cents, right? Like, there's no better time, if this is a bear market, to double down. That way, next cycle, you're not late, right? If you were late, maybe you were early this cycle, I don't know, but I'm sure a lot of people came in a little bit late here, and hopefully it's not too late. Hopefully we put in the higher low and we continue up. But I'm just saying, if the bear market is here, there is no better time to double down on your research and, save yourself the pain in the next cycle, right? Like, one of the best things I did was get in at the lows, right? Because, like, all these drops down in the bull market, I'm not really stressed out. I'm still massively in profit. I know there's tons of time left in the cycle, and we could just enjoy those gains. You want to get in and let the gains happen. Not buy in at the highs and then worry about every correction because you bought in on a green candle. So, let's see. Shout out to Dutchy, said, I'd suggest quit day drinking. Shout out to Dutchy. I don't even know what that's in reference to. Alt season is a myth, just like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. Shout out to Dutchy. If you're new in crypto, if this is your first cycle, you probably do believe that. All right, let's see. Ondo, yeah, we can take a look at. I'll take a look at Ondo, ICP. We'll take a look at some of the big boys as well. Let's see. Just make sure I didn't miss anything here. 25K bottom for 90% drop by the end of 2026. Well, that would be a bigger drop than I think we've ever had in a bear market. I believe, yeah, we had like an 88% correction back here in 2014. 90% would be kind of wild. I'm not saying it's impossible. Obviously, anything is possible, but I would bring you all the way back down to 11K. I don't know if that's what I would expect, but we'll see, right? Like if we get down here to our typical 70% correction and things start to look super terrible, we'll know, right? We'll know whether we should be looking for moves up or moves down. Very similar to what I said up here. It's like, well, hey guys, it's looking like we can come down here, and then if we get down there, we can reassess the money flow and say, hey, does this look good for a massive new all-time high, or does it look more like we're going to put in a lower high and a lower low? And I think we all know what situation it looks like right now, right? We did that, right? We got down to the level. We're now looking at the money flow. It's not looking that great. Doesn't mean it can't fake out. But, again, you'll notice every time we talk about the contrary of the move to the upside, it all just comes down to the TA just has to not matter, which happens once in a while. But there's just so much confluence here, in my opinion. So, I'm praying. I hope we can get a push up there. But just like we were saying, even up here in the 110s, 112s, it's like I just need to see that all-time high come in. There's nothing on the chart screaming for it, even up here. Right? It's like I just need to see it happen because I just physically can't front-run it with the way the charts look. Shout out to Grumpy. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Said, do you have an indicator that shows BTC production costs on TradingView? Usually we always tend to stay above it, even during the bear market. What do you think? Shout out to Grumpy. That's I like your thought process. I do not have an indicator. Really, all I would do is I would just kind of I would just try to look it up in the indicators tab and see if you can find one. I do not personally have one, but I'm sure you can find something. People, I mean, there's so many indicators here from the community or community-made scripts. I'm sure you could probably find something. But thank you for the super chat. I wish I had an indicator to show you. Let's see. Yeah, banks are about to implode. Shout out to Thomas. That kind of gives me anxiety, right? It's like, where are you supposed to put your money, right? It's like you hold Bitcoin, you think you're going to win a bear market, you want to hold cash, but you don't want to hold it in a bank because if the banks go down, your money's not safe. What are you going to do, right? You're going to keep your cash in your safe? God forbid a fire. It's like, oh, man. It's like, where do you always got to diversify where you have your money sat. 87.3K bottom, then bull market. Shout out to My Passive Freedom. I hope so. Cash under your bed. Yeah, shout out to Dar A. Hold USDT and keep your seed phrase in your mind. I don't know. Yeah, shout out to MC89. I love this. The reality is simple. Bitcoin keeps moving upward in the long term, no matter how many short-term hiccups we see. Shout out to MC89. I have no other option but to fully agree with you there, right? So it's like, you could have bought any top on Bitcoin, and you would have ended up in profit if you held. I'm not saying you want to buy the top every single time, but sure enough, right? At some point, guys, it's going to feel like it's over, right? You have to think, like, when years go by, like 2 years, it's like, oh, my God, like 2 full years of just, like, boring downward price action. But it's eventually, right, like just like it was here, right? You get this massive downtrend. They bore you out at the bottom, and then it's like before you know it, you're back up. So yeah, I am a long-term believer in Bitcoin. I do think this will eventually make it its way up to some crazy valuations. But when Bitcoin to $1 million, I think so someday. Exactly when is very hard. We can all speculate. 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, next cycle. But it's really hard to predict that stuff. Yeah, shout out to Fake from State Farm. Says, hold funds with a brokerage like short-term treasuries. If those fall, I should have bought ammo and guns. Yeah, at some point, right? If the world collapses, no Bitcoin, no gold, no nothing is going to be helpful for you. You're going to want like medicine and ammo, essentially, and probably water. Shout out to Tango said, can you say, let's see, let's see? I don't need to be told to say, let's see, let's see. We got the emoji for a reason. Let's see, let's see. There you go. Cash is trash. Well, those go down in value, so can't argue with that. But anyway, let's continue on here. Let me take a quick look at the altcoins. Now, Ethereum, same situation here, guys. Nothing has really changed, right? What did we look at? And also on Bitcoin, what did we look at yesterday, right? The hope is if you can get a bounce here at this local level of support, right, what's one thing that we can look at? Well, I've talked about this in the market update as well, right? Well, you come on down to your key level of support. I'm just going to pull up the fib. I won't pull up the whole volume profile, right? But, excuse me, the hope here is the high time frame bull divs, right? Lower lows, higher lows. That could give you a bounce to the upside. Again, we're at support. This is not a place where I'd ever look to short. The only thing you can look for down here is longs, in my opinion. So if we get the 12-hour bull div, this might be something we might be able to print, tomorrow, or maybe overnight. If we can get that 12-hour bull div, could look for a retracement. But of course, you want to keep an eye on those Fibonacci retracements, right? Very simply, pull from the high to the low, sitting right here. I already marked this out, but sitting right here between 102, 187 all the way up to about 104, 500, 104, 550, right? Maybe that 12-hour bull div gives us a push. And then at that point, right, if we flip this, maybe money flow comes back up on the 12-hour. We can look for a bigger push up. But this would be like a big macro target. If we get a big retracement, this is going to be a huge level, right? You have the 50-week moving average in there, golden pocket, 786, amongst other things. So we'll see. We have some bullish confirmations looking to print here. We'll see if we can get them to play out. And it's the same thing on Ethereum, right? That same kind of thought process for Ethereum is, hey, if we can get bull divs to form here into this golden pocket or daily MPOC, this daily naked point of control is still sitting at about 3,029. If we can get these higher time frame bull divs, daily bull div might print. Now, again, this is not a daily bull div with massive money flow coming up, right? So this is still would be looked at as lackluster potentially until proven otherwise. As long as we remain above, as long as we remain above $108,000 for Bitcoin, if we remain below that level, it's not looking good, right? On Ethereum, that's really going to be about 35.30, right, at the value area high. It's the same thing, right? Once you get accepted into this range, right, it's not really a good sign. You want to get out of here. If you get accepted in, right, you're probably going to head on back down towards your POC. The problem here is your POC is down at 2312, right? And we have all these other support levels, so I'm not going to look at that level just yet. But locally here, maybe you look for the daily bull div into this golden pocket / daily MPOC at about 3K. 12-hour bull div also potentially looking to print here as well. So if you're looking for a bounce, this could be something to look at if you print that 12-hour green dot. We're, of course, going to go down to that 45-minute money flow and hope that you can get that 45-minute money flow to cross into the green at the same time. If you can get that with the 12-hour bull div and the 45-minute money flow coming up, maybe you can look for a bigger retracement. Biggest level of resistance, 35.30 up here at the value area high. Once we get above there and we can hold, well, then we can look to go back up towards our bigger target, which I'll pull up here. Right? Again, same chart. If you get the bigger bounce, if we can hold on top of that daily and POC, push above the value area high at 35.30. Once you get above there, the next target would be sitting up here between 37.77 and 38.39. Those are the biggest levels to look at to the upside. So we'll see if those divs can give you the bounce. I don't have a super big amount of hope for them to be like a massive bounce, but biggest targets would be here and here. So that's what I'd be looking at. Shout out to Evora. Say, can you check Bitcoin dominance? I think we already checked that. I just came off a premium live stream, so that might be what I'm thinking of. But dominance is the same thing, guys. No real update on dominance, unfortunately. We're getting the rejection from our key level here. It's just, is it going to dump, right? We have our 12. The one update here is our 12 and 16-hour money flow is finally starting to come out a bit, right? We have some mixed signals here, right? It's like daily money flow is still in the green here. Hopefully that's the top of our wave. And the 12 and 16-hour money flow coming out, if these cross red, you might be able to see the daily money flow peak out a little bit, which would be nice because if we get that daily money flow back in the red, it would indicate the longer-term trend could continue down. And then hopefully these mixed signals can flip back around, right? We had the 2-day, which was coming out. Now it's back in the green. We need that to come back into the red. And then, of course, the 4-day is still looking pretty bearish here. But if we don't get the rejection here, if we just wind up continuing to put in higher lows and marching up here, next level to look at is, of course, the infamous 62.64 and 64.24%. Other than that, not really a ton of updates. So you can watch that 16 and 12-hour money flow to see if you can get a bigger drop. And hopefully that can happen on the Bitcoin retracement from 94K or to 91K. All right, so let's see. Likes. Shout out to Bosky. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys. If we saved you from trying to long on the way down there. Hopefully we did. Smash that like button, guys. But let's take a look here. I'll take a quick look at Solana, of course. What do we look at on Solana? Just hide these local levels real quick. Right? We have the POC and value area low. Same thing as Bitcoin. Get stuck under this range. Can't get out. POC is next. Can't hold the POC. Value area low is next. 141.52 to 133.54. These are the levels we've been looking at ever since we were up here. Now we're down there, right? Simple volume profile stuff. Overvalued, undervalued. Undervalued, overvalued. You know, didn't break out there, but overvalued, undervalued. Overvalued, undervalued. Shorts, longs, shorts, longs, shorts, longs, shorts, longs, shorts, longs. Now, yes, I would be interested in bounces here, right? It does not mean that you have to get the full fill, right? And the reason for that, again, is money flow, right? So for Solana, just in simple terms, next key level down below is the value area low, 133.54. If we could reclaim the POC, maybe we can get a little bit of a bounce. But of course, is our money flow facilitating a massive bounce through the rest of the profile? I would not say so. Right? Money flow is coming out aggressively. I would still be looking for lower highs and lower lows. And if we lose this range, we could start talking about some lower targets. But if I had the money flow, again, if I invert it here and we had a big red wave crossing into the green, I'd be saying, well, hey, guys, beautiful. Send it up, right? But we just don't have the money flow facilitating that. Maybe it changes through the profile. But right now, it's very hard to say that. Check the 4-hour. Yeah, 4-hour money flow attempting to come up. Maybe that can help you. You do have the 4-hour bull div technically confirmed. Let's check the 8-hour. Yeah, 8-hour money flow just tanking. They're potentially looking to print these divs. But again, like divergences, guys, I really want to see it lining up with money flow, right? I want to see the lower lows on our price action into a key level. I want to see the higher lows on momentum waves. And I also want money flow coming up. Don't have that just yet. So key level down below, 133.54. Let's see. Shout out to Rise. Hopefully Bitcoin can rise. But no, he says, I'll wait for a bounce to short than guessing on a long right now, in my opinion. Yeah, shout out to Rise. This is almost like, even on Bitcoin, right? Like, you know, I know it gets kind of confusing, right? Because we talk about how not every time that you have a directional bias, right? Like here, this is impossible for me to be like, yeah, great short, right? You've already missed the moves down. Our last short setup in the premium Discord was from right up here on these bear divs, right? That has now gotten the drop. For me to look for a fresh short down here is like, you've already missed the move, right? So the only thing I can look for down here is longs. The only thing I'm questioning is how big of a long that would be, right? You do have the bull divs technically printing. You have your 4-hour money flow also trying to come up on Bitcoin. Maybe that can help you up. But again, overall bias, lower highs, lower lows. Still a higher time frame bearish until proven otherwise. Doesn't mean you can't get the bounces. Just like back down here. 4-hour bull div. Higher lows, lower lows, you get the bounce. But with your daily and 2-day money flow crossing into the red, you are looking for that bounce to eventually get eaten up to put in a lower high and a lower low, breaking structure to the downside, which is exactly what we got. Where did that lower high come in? Right on your golden pocket retracement. Right? And it's all based off money flow. Right? You even had 4-hour money flow coming up, but that does not change the fact that you have the high time frame money flow coming out. Right? So it's like, sure, you could take that long. I actually did take a long here. But you could take the long, right? You just have to understand the overall context. The high time frames still look bearish. You just got to be careful, looking to take profits and potentially flip short for the next drop down. Price moves in ebbs and flows, right? So that 2-day could be like, oh my God, 2-day green dot, push up, right? But if that 2-day green dot prints but money flow is coming out, you're looking for lower highs and lower lows. People say you can't short in a bull market, can't long in a bear market. We've shorted so far every single all-time high in this cycle and made money, a good bit of money on these drops down. You could short in bull markets and you can long in, you could short in bull markets and you can long in bear markets, right? You're just not favoring them to be massive moves, right? In the bear market, you're going to be looking to be greedy with the shorts, conservative with the longs. In bull market, you're going to be greedy with the longs, conservative with the shorts. All right, let's see. Yes, bull div on the 4 hour. Yes, we do have a bull div on the 4 hour. Interestingly enough, right? There it is, right? Lower lows, higher lows. And we actually had this confirm like right here. And I just didn't like it. We did get another drop down. But now we have another 4 hour green dot print. All right, look at this. Green dot, immediate red dot. Now we have another green dot printing. So it's actually, let's check the 15-minute money flow. So for the bounce to the upside, guys, you want to see this 15-minute money flow cross into the green while your 4 hour green dot is printing. So I know I sound very bearish because I am long term, right, or medium term. But that does not mean that we cannot get a bounce here, right? A lot of people are like, what the heck? I thought you were bearish. We're getting a bounce. Yes, just like down here. I'm bearish. Oh, my God, but we bounced. I thought you were bearish. Yes, longer term, right? Literally took that long. Didn't ride it all the way up, though. So, yeah, you know, definitely at support, definitely have bull divs. Not a place where I would look for a fresh short. If anything, I would be taking a long here. We got gold. Shout out to Flat Smack. Said we got gold season instead of alt season, so it all works out. Shout out to Flat Smack. Let's go. It's like, God, I don't think anything could be further from alt season than that is true. I agree with you, but like, it's so funny because it's like we didn't see the altcoins do a crazy pump, but gold, something that moves super slow, wound up getting the crazy pump, which is insane. Shout out to Flat Smack. Flat Smack that like button, guys. Oh, there he goes. Don't forget to flat smack that like button. Shout out to you, brother. OG of the Candle Mafia. Shout out to DeGeneri. Said, how come you don't focus on daily closes when it happens live? I mean, I don't know. I think people pay, like, the only time I pay that much attention to, like, a daily close, it's like, I feel like people are very much like, oh, the daily close is about to happen. I just don't really see the, like, I'm not saying it's not significant, but, like, really, like, when I'm looking at a specific candle closure, it's got to be a reason for it, right? Like, the weekly candle, like, I'm more interested in the weekly candle closure, right, this week, because why? We need to close that weekly candle above the 50-week moving average, right? So, like, that's something I want to focus on. But whether the daily candle closes, you know, I guess you could say, like, hey, we closed the daily candle on top of this golden pocket. That's, like, that's good. But, like, this is not, like, something super – not all daily closes are super significant, right? It's, like, you can almost, like, even if you're not looking at the chart, it's like, all right, well, you know, daily close happens in 35 minutes or whatever. It's like, this is probably going to close up here. It's just, like, needs to be a reason for or, like, let's say we got down to the value area low, for example, right? Let's say we dip below that value area low. Maybe at that point, like, we would hope for a daily candle closure above here. But even then, right, it's like it would be nice to get a daily candle closure above there, but it's, like, not always going to be, like, the biggest, most, like, important signal, right? Because, you know, you could close the you could close the daily candle up here and then just eventually go fill the wick and come lower. So, yeah, not really any specific situations. Like, I will focus more on the closes when it's, like, a pivotal moment, right, which would be the weekly candle closure on top of this 50-week moving average. But you could say, like, hey, we closed on top of the golden pocket. I guess that's good, right? It's, like, better than not having the daily candle closure above there. But even that, right, it's not the daily candle closure that I'd be looking at for a bounce here. It's really just, like, the bullish divergences, like the actual signals. So, yeah, I'm not saying you shouldn't pay attention to it, but it just doesn't. It's not that important to me unless there's something specific that I'm looking for. Shout out to Crypto Lodge. What is going on? He said, hey, Frankie, what is going on? Yo, Cardano is dead. Yeah, I'm probably going to get a lot of text messages about Cardano. Shout out to Tyler. Said, I am Tyler Durden. Oh, God. Shout out to Tyler Durden. You got a challenger in the chat, brother. Market is dead. We are also dead, Frankie. Shout out to XCal. I hope not. I hope not. You guys are crazy. All right, so we'll see if we get the continued bounce here off these bullish divergences. I hope so. To be honest, guys, if I was holding the short from up here, I'd be more inclined to take a stab down here, but I'm going to be, of course, more focused on fading the highs. But we'll see. Maybe we can get that little bounce. Daily 2-hour bull div, 1 hour bull div, 4 hour bull div now reprinting here. We had a green dot print for the bull div. Didn't really like it. We put in a new low, and we got a fresh red dot, so it wasn't looking as good. But now we are now getting another fresh green dot. So, again, for the push-up, what you want to see here is that 15-minute money flow crossover into the green. If we get that, you can look for the local trend to continue to the upside. Flip the POC. We can start working our way back up towards about 98 to 99K. And, of course, we have the bigger levels of local resistance that I talked about earlier today. Just scrub back to the beginning of the stream. I give all the resistance levels and everything. Shout out to Thomas. Thank you for the super chat. Wants to see XRP. So we'll take a look at ICP. We'll take a look at ICP. We'll take a look at XRP. Let's jump in here real quick. And we do have giveaways to do here tonight as well, guys. So stick around. All right. Let's see here. Not a huge update. We're just bing-bonging around this POC. I'm not going to stick on this too long. Key level of support, value area low 205. You have the untapped value area low. You have the untapped 786, right? We've already ran through this golden pocket, right? This is your first level. Once you lose the golden pocket, you look to come tap that 786. We got very close, but we did front run the levels. So I would say the most important levels to look at here on XRP, you got to get above the POC, sitting right now at about 241. If you could flip that to support, your next big level is sitting here between the anchored VWAP at 264 all the way up to the 786 value area low of the previous range at about, call it 280. All right, so flip this. You can look up here. If you cannot reclaim the POC, we're looking down here. This is a no trade zone for me. I would not be looking to take a trade on XRP. That's not to say it's not going to move up or down. There's just no trade setup here for me. There's no real key level, no confirmation. I would rather just wait for one of these levels to get tapped to either look for a short or a long. Doesn't mean set a limit order here to short, right? You have to come up if you get the confirmations, and only if you get the confirmations, that's where you look to short. Because if it looks strong up there, you're probably going to want to look for a break and reclaim for a push-up. Other than that, not a huge update here, right? All these higher time frame money flows, 5-day money flow tanking, 6-day money flow crossing into the red. Got to be careful with the bounces. I'll just say that. So there's XRP. Not really too much to update. 205 is your key support. POC sits at 241. If you can flip 241, biggest level of resistance to get above is still 280. Once you flip that, we can look for the bigger move. Let's see. Shout out to Crypto Max. He said, Bitcoin offering Black Friday sales. Good Lord. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Local bottom. Yeah, shout out to Hanny. I would say, yeah. I mean, you got bull divs. You're tapping into key support. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you get a local bottom here. But that is exactly what I would call it, is local bottom. All right, let's take a quick look at ICP. Let's see here. All right, so obviously ICP got the big move up, and then we got the rejection at the value area low. This was the level you needed to reclaim in order to call for the bigger move to the upside. We have now come in there, lost it, and as of right now, I'll just say it, ICP is attempting to get accepted back down into this range. What's your money flow doing, right? I'm not saying you can't bounce, but this money flow is coming out on the 10-hour, 12-hour money flow coming out. Daily money flow doesn't look super bad, right? You're making higher lows, VWAP curling back up. 2-day money flow coming out. 3-day money flow, yeah, it's super wonky. 4-day, yeah, this money flow's all kind of chopped. Chopped! Oh, you got a monthly green dot. Let me see. Yeah, I mean, it would say the same thing, right? If you get these high time frame green dots, right? 16-hour green dot, 10-hour green dot, check the 4-hour. 4-hour green dot looking to print. You don't have any of the divs here. The one thing I would just say here is that I'll just give you the key levels, right? If you can't get back above the range, if we get a retracement, this is the level to break above at 620. You can flip above that. One level I would pay attention to is your Fibonacci retracement, just based off this 10-hour money flow. Let's just say the bottom is in. Local bottom, I should say, is in. Biggest key level to break above. Once you break above that 786, you're also above the value area low. All right, whoops. Let me change that to purple. Whoops. So if you get the bigger bounce up, potential lower high to come in here. And again, I am a little bit worried about the money flow. But if you did get up there, right, and flip that 786, well, then maybe you can get accepted into the upper range. But until then, that is going to be key resistance. And just and below that, right, about 620 at the value area high is going to be major resistance. If you can't break out of here, well, Next likely place for price to go is probably going to be that POC. If you could break above, lower high opportunity to eventually continue down. But if you can flip that, that's the level you need to get above in order to invalidate all that. So that's what I look at on a ICP. 620 value area high above. Next big key level of support down below is going to be the POC at $4.10. And actually, what I will do is I'll pull this little local range, which I'm pretty sure we've probably already pulled. But you do have this kind of local value in here as well, right? So I don't want to give you guys volume profileception here, but you do have some local value in here. So, you know, you're already below that value area high. You got the POC in the value area low. Just pull a fib here real quick. Come on. I would have hoped for a little bit more confluence on that POC, if I'm being honest. Let's pull it to the scam wick. And not a lot of confluence there. So locally, you can look at this local range, right? If I turn off the higher time frame range. All right, here's your local range. Value area high, 573. POC sitting at $4.92. And then your value area low sitting at $4.78. So, yeah, you're getting accepted into the lower value. It's just not great. You really got to get the breakout, and even then, right, you got to get above that 786 at 890 in order to call for a bigger move up. Until then, I'd be very cautious on the bounces. So there you go. And I'll actually take this, and I'll hide this. Drag this into a folder. Bada boom. Bada bing. All right, so there you go. Shout out to Sakura. Says, Frankie, do you take any supplements? Not really. Not really. Sometimes I take I think it's a vitamin D supplement. I've tried to take melatonin to help me sleep at night. I don't know what it is, guys. My blood just does not let me sleep. I don't sleep a lot. My full night sleep is like 5-6 hours. But sometimes I try to take melatonin, but I'm immune. I'm immune to melatonin. It doesn't work. I've taken triple the dose. It just doesn't do, it does nothing to me. Zero. Mrs. Candle's like, take a little extra. Trust me, it'll hit you. I'm just in bed, like, thinking of a million things. All right, so there we go. Ondo. Let's take a quick look at Ondo. Actually, let's take a quick look at just checking on Bitcoin here real quick. She's trying. She's trying. Come on, Biddy. Come on, Biddy. You can do it. We believe in you. 15-minute money flow. Come on. Get that to cross into the green. Let's get it. Come on. Come on, Biddy. Let's pull out our good old friend here. Come on, Biddy. Come on. You can do it. Come on. Come on. Get us to the value area high at least. At least. Set an alert there in case we pop up there. Come on, Biddy. You can do it. Suck it on up there. I'm going to add some more. We need all the help we can get here, guys. Come on, Biddy. Come on. You got it. You got it. Come on. All right, let's see. Shout out to TRT Farmer. Said, Frankie, if you can't fall asleep at night, it isn't melatonin that Mrs. Candles needs to be giving you. Oh, it's an unhinged Frankie Candles live stream tonight. Let's go. You need a cold bed. That will do the trick. Shout out to Thomas. I am a big fan of cold beds. I've actually been thinking about getting that little fan that blows like under the sheets. That's like having a constant cold side of the pillow in your bed. Ada tapping the same support for the 7th time. Can it make it if BTC dominance drops while we print the lower high? Hopefully. That's the case. That's the hope. That is the hope. We'll take a quick look at Ondo, and then we'll check in on Cardano as well. And I'll be honest here, guys. Yeah, Cardano, like, at the level here. Like, we are literally sitting at 50 cents. This is the level that we need to hold. If you can't hold, and it's not to say that if you get a bounce, you can't re-lose it. But you are tapping that 50-cent level. Like, we do not want to lose 50 cents. Last time we looked at that was like, hey, lose this level. We're looking down to the value area high. Once you lose this, we're looking for that fulfill the volume profile. And I'm not going to lie, guys. When you look at these liquidation wicks, I mean, this is just food for thought. What happened to Bitcoin, right? Massive liquidation wick. We fill it eventually, right? And if you look at that on Cardano, just assume, let's just say like maybe the same thing happens. Losing this, we were going to be looking for the PLC and the value area low to get tapped. Now, this obviously happened very quickly on that one wick. But if we're going to fill this, right, like even if we didn't get the liquidation wick, let's just say this isn't here, and price got a bounce, and then we're coming back down here, like this is still a big key level. If we get stuck inside this range, golden pocket sitting at 45 to 43 cents. If you can't hold that, eventually you are going to be looking for that PLC to get tapped as the first level within your profile. If you can't hold that, you're looking to go down to the value area low, and that would give you a full fill of that wick. Not saying it has to happen right now, but the importance of this level is huge, right? We already got a bounce from it, but what did it do? Lower high, lower low. Not quite a low. Almost. Kind of an equal low there. But let's take a look at Ondo real quick. Oh, man. She's at risk, guys. She's at risk to moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. It's Friday, guys. But let's see. You don't have the divergences printing just yet. I mean, I guess you could argue you have a little bit of a 16-hour bull div, similar to Bitcoin, right? Like the higher time frame bull divs, lower lows, higher lows. That could give you a bounce. Biggest key levels above, value area low, 66 cents. You got to reclaim that, right? It's like really the only thing above you that you really want to reclaim. Flip that. You could start getting a bigger retracement to the upside. We've already rejected this, so I'll take that off the chart. POC. Let me pull this up on a 4-hour. There we go. So, yeah, I mean, your biggest key level or your doorway to higher prices would be 66 cents. If you can't get accepted back into this profile, I mean, looking at the high time frames, money flow is coming out here on the 2-day. 3-day money flow coming out. 4-day money flow, as it has been for the past few months, is just doing its own thing here. 4-day doesn't look as bad. 5-day looks pretty bad. 6-day, just absolutely tanking to the downside. 6-day, coming out. Got some green dots printing, but again, it's like money flow very suspicious here. I wish I could say we have some kind of like super important level here. I just don't see it. This wick took everything out. So we're losing the local 786 here. So really what you got to do is reclaim this zone locally. Got to reclaim the 786 golden pocket, which sits between 61 and 58 cents. Once you get above that, you'll look for the push into the value area low. Once you flip that, that could open the door to the PLC at 79 cents. Until then, this is all resistance until proven otherwise. So we'll see. See if you can flip that value area low at 65 cents. And again, money flow looking pretty similar to everything else, right? Dipping out here. You don't have the daily bull div just yet. You have higher lows. 12-hour bull div is technically printing, so if you're going to get the bounce off of that, and VWAP is coming up as well, right? And again, this is not where you look to short. If you want to look for shorts, it's got to happen on the green candles, right? Even here, here. You want to short the highs, not short the lows. This is the only thing I could look for down here as a long. If I had to make an argument for it, see if you could print that bullish divergence here on the 12-hour green dot prints. And again, just like on Bitcoin, if that 12-hour green dot prints, you can come on over to the 45-minute money flow, which currently looks terrible. But if you can get that 12-hour bull div to print, and this money flow comes back up as that green dot on the 12 hours printing, you can look for the continuation of that local trend on the 45-minute. Break above here, and then maybe you can make it up to that value area low. So those are the key levels I'll be looking at on Ondo, as well as the money flow analysis. Shout out to Clay Urek. I don't know how to say your name. Says money flow still thick on the monthly, though. I don't know if you're talking about, I assume you're probably looking at Bitcoin. Yeah, so let me pull this up on the Bitstamp chart just so we can get a longer look at this. So money flow has never really been in the red on the monthly. So like even in bear markets, right? We got close to crossing over here in the bear market last cycle, but this has never been in the red. As a matter of fact, it's actually trending out as time goes by, right? Lower high, lower high, lower high. So yeah, I mean, you could argue We were very thick in the monthly. Money flow was very thick in the green here at the top as well. It's almost at the exact same level in the previous cycle. And then even at the 2017 top, right, money flow is literally overbought as we're coming down. So that's not really a big thing that I would look at. The monthly money flow just doesn't really oscillate, so it's a little harder to get a signal off of. Whereas like the weekly, you could very clearly see that the weekly money flow crossovers into the green. One right here, bottoms in, bull market. Weekly money flow crossover into the green, right? Ignoring the black swan. I mean, even not ignoring the black swan, bottom is in, bull market. And even all the way back here, right? Money flow crosses into the green, bottom is in, bull market, right? So you get a little more oscillation on the week because it's a little easier to look at. Monthly has never been in the red, so not something I look at. And even when you do look at it, it's like we were thick in the green, excuse me, at the top in 2021. What do we have? Bearish divergences on the monthly. Lower highs, money flow still in the, like, just to kind of show you what that looks like at the actual moment, right? It's like, oh, well, hey, like, monthly money flow still thick in the green. It's actually coming up locally with the green dot. And it's like, still thick in the green, still ended up being the top before the massive drop down. So not something I would look at for, like, a massive signal like that. It's just a little harder because it doesn't oscillate and cross over as often as the other time frames. So there you go. I just, that little pop up, I was like, oh, my God, Bitcoin's pumping. It's like my brain's just pointing towards like anything, any possible. I'll see a green actual candle, and I'll be like, oh my God, Bitcoin's oh, it's just a Yankee candle. Dang it. Nightbot time. Yeah, shout out to Banuta. That sounds like a bad word. I'm not going to lie. Come on, you Banuta. No, but shout out to you, man. Yes, we do have giveaways to do. Absolutely. So yeah, let's jump into it. It's already almost 7:30 here. I always lose track of time, guys. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Indian Martini says liquidation heat map is like a Christmas tree at 98K. I was actually going to pull up the liquidation heat map here, but the yeah, I mean, I pulled up the 1 year. This is not really a time frame that I look at very often. But when we were looking at those big volume gaps down below, if we lose $75,000, if we actually take a look here at the yearly liquidation heat map, again, not a massive time frame that I really pay a lot of attention to, but look at all this liquidity sitting down here, guys. And again, it's like fast move up equals fast move down. Fast move up equals fast move down. Fast move up equals fast move down. So it's like, where are we at right here? This is 90K, 80K. Yeah, I mean, it's like we lose this, that like 85, right? Like down here, 80, like that liquidity ends right at that $82,000 level where we have those last levels of support. Just to show that. Right? It's like we have all that liquidity sitting below, excuse me, and like where does it start to pick back up? Right at the bottom of the support level at about 82K. So again, fast move up equals fast move down more often than not. So if we can't hold this, I'd expect a fast move down here to sweep out that liquidity. And where does it end? Right on your next level of support. So just another kind of thing that lines up there as far as the bigger moves to the downside. Or just like bigger levels to the downside and kind of making sense of why we would go down there. All right, let's see. All right, let's. I'm actually going to have to. We're not doing Nightbot today, guys. I'm going to have to pull up the giveaway picker. And we're going to have to pull it. Oh, actually, yeah, we're going to have to. All right, I'm going to give everybody like 5 minutes. Go comment on the market update that was uploaded today. The last video uploaded on the channel was the market update from earlier today. I'll even get you the title so you guys don't get the wrong one. Bitcoin collapse. The drop we warned about. Something like that. That is the video. Go comment on that. I'll give you guys 5 full minutes to comment on that. And then that will get you entered into the giveaway because I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to do the giveaways the old way because Tony D is... unfortunately, actually at a funeral right now. So here we go. 5 minutes on the clock. Go comment on that video to enter the giveaways. And I will just come back in here in chat. Shout out to Crypto Paisa said, well, Frankie, the bull market starts on November 29th. Shout out to Crypto Paisa. I hope you're... I don't know if you're joking or not, but if you were not, I hope you're the first person that is right about that. Shout out to Rick Silver. Says, Frankie, thoughts on the weekly red BTC? Shout out to Rick. I'm not 100% sure exactly what you mean by that. Can you show quickly the 6-day and 3-day, the MCB money flow? Here's your 6-day. If it loads. Take a sip of that black coffee while I wait. There's your 6-day money flow. If you want to compare that to 2021, here's your 6-day money flow in 2021 as you play around, right? Right on this weekly, right on that 50-week moving average. There's your playing around with the 50-week. There's your money flow. Playing around with the 50-week. Here's your money flow. Looks very similar. Doesn't mean it has to play out exactly the same, but it's definitely eerily similar. So that's your 6-day. And your 3-day. Now crossing into the red. That's actually just happened. This was not like that in the beginning of the stream. So hopefully it's something like this. Fake out, back into the green. Right? It's not impossible. Not impossible. But that is literally what you have to look for in order to call for a big move up. And hopefully that is the case. Jesse, thank you for dropping the link. You guys can click the link there to drop a comment on the video. Got 3 minutes and 13 seconds left. Let's see. Shout out to Sarmad says, best time for spot buying. For me personally, I'll just say this. If I was not in crypto at all and I was waiting to buy, or if I met somebody new today and was like, hey, I don't own any crypto, should I buy right now? I can't tell people when to buy or sell, right? At the end of the day, the chart could look super bearish. You could tell someone not to buy here, and it just moons. Anything can happen. But I would never recommend like this to be a good time to buy. I would be like, just wait for the bear market, right? Whether you have to come up for one more all-time high, right? Like, and then you go into a bear market. It's just like this thing is, even at the price it is at now, right? Like Bitcoin is sitting at $95,000. It was $15K in the previous bear market, right? Like, you need a bigger pullback than that for me to say it's like a really good buying opportunity. Now, inside of a bull market, this is a buying opportunity. This is a buying opportunity. I just can't really say the same thing here. Maybe it winds up being a good buying opportunity and we continue up into an extended cycle. But it's just like with the timing of the cycle, it's much harder for me to feel confident about that back here. Doesn't mean you shouldn't buy. That's just my 2 cents, right? I could be wrong. Yo, shout out to Golden, bro. Thank you for the super chat. He said, I just sold. Did you say the money flow just went into the red? Yes, on the 3-day. This was not like this in the beginning of the stream. It was coming very close. It was coming very close, but it was not crossed over into the red. It is now just crossed into the red on that last little candle print that we just had. So shout out to Golden. Golden, put the money flow in the red on the daily. Come on, Golden, please. Why? Shout out to B. Griffin, said, kiddos, half day. So lucky to be here with you live. Big ups, Frankie, and the mods. Thank you all so much. Shout out to B. Griffin. Welcome in, brother. Thank you for being here. Shout out to OC2. Thank you for the super chat. Says, hey, Frankie, near printing anything good? It's going to be pretty much, unless near looks totally different than everything else, it's going to be very similar. I think locally, we are seeing some kind of reversal signal, but again, not massive reversal, right? Like local bottom potentially coming close. Whether we have to dig deeper into this zone or just bounce from where we are. We do have the bull divs. I'm assuming near is probably going to be the same thing, so I won't go super deep into it. Let's see here. Let me pull it up on the... All right, let's see here. Let's take a look at it from... Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, guys. Like, maybe like, hey, missed the long of the lifetime here. Me personally, I would always be waiting for the value area low to get tapped. So, it's very rare that I'm just looking to front run a level like this. Like, maybe it bounces, I miss it, but I'm happy to miss that every time, right? Because more often than not, you're going to be looking at this, and I'm going to be thinking like, bullish divergences, whatever, right? Which you actually don't have right now, by the way. But it's like I would just rather for this level to get hit. It's magnetic. You're already almost there. I'd be willing to miss this to wait for this key level to get hit. If it doesn't get hit, you miss the move, no big deal. There's the timer up. But yeah, 3-hour money flow crossing into the red. 4-hour red dot is printing. I don't really see anything super, super exciting here. You don't really have any of the 12-hour bull divs that we mentioned on Ethereum or Bitcoin. So I would say your next key level support down here is 223. If you get another bounce to the upside, and look what happened here, right? Deviation above the high. 4-hour bearish divergences. Get back into the range. Can't get out. back to the POC. Once you lose the POC, the next major target is the value area low. So I would definitely watch this level. I can't guarantee you it's going to get tapped, but I can tell you probably 9 out of 10 times that does wind up getting tapped. So that's the next key level I'd be looking at. I could pull a fib here as well. Have any confluence on that level? Okay. I mean, this kind of makes me want to wait for that level even more if I were looking to trade this. You got your golden pocket right there. I mean, that is definitely going to be your next key level of support. Maybe you get another retracement. If you can't hold this, I'd be looking down to the 786 at 202, also known as 202. Shout out to Rick, says traditionally Bitcoin crashes all year, then all next year. Shout out to Rick. Yeah, 2026 would be an expected bear market. Shout out to Golden, said, no, I won't, because I'm going to be buying back all the coin I sold today at the bottom of the bear market, guys. Come on, I'm not that dumb. Shout out to Golden. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Shout out to Golden, man. Well, hopefully, Golden, you want to buy back in real quick? Scam it up one more time. Just a thought. Just a thought. You know, got to shoot my shot. I got to shoot my shot. But shout out to Golden. Golden knows. Sell your crypto to him. Shout out to Wick589. Shout out to Rick, said even if the Fed does print money, maybe BTC goes to 120, maybe 140, but I don't think alts will explode like we're used to. Yeah, it's a bit hard, and that's kind of what I've been talking about as like talking about shaving profits up here. Oh my God, I was like, what is this? It's the magnet. Is it working? Not really. It's trying to work. But, it's like kind of my thought process of like talking about taking profit up here. It's like, for me personally, right? You're always going to have someone in there. So like, this guy's selling the bottom. No, wrong. Bought the bottom. Selling at the top, right? Even if this isn't the top, right? It's like, it makes no sense for me to not take profits up here. But, right, it has a lot to do with where I'm in from. So, I never want to cause panic. It's like, oh, my God, Frankie's taking profit. It's all over, right? Maybe it is, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if we wind up being correct about that. But, again, it's not like I always have I'm never, like, fully out of the market, right? If it continues up, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because of exactly what you just said, right? It's like, for me personally, being up that much on your Bitcoin, right? Like, what am I risking, right? If we go back up, let's say we go up to 140K, right? It's like, what is this? 12% from the high, 46% from where we are right now. It's like that risk to reward for me is just not worth it, right? You're never going to sell the exact top. Would you have been mad if you sold Bitcoin at 60K last cycle and it went to 69K? Well, a lot of people will be very emotional about that. They're like, oh, my God, I'm missing out. They probably buy the top and get wrecked, right? But in hindsight, you're not going to care about taking profit here for one last little rip to the upside. You're just going to be thanking yourself that you took profit, right? So you have to pay yourself at some point, right? You got to make the money. If you don't realize the profits, they're not real profits. You can't pay bills with screenshots. You can't buy stuff with screenshots. So that's kind of my thought process up here when we talk about taking profits. It's like it just makes no sense. Even if this continues to go up, I'll still hold some stuff. Right? But it's like, for me to just like risk it all in anticipation of this time being different makes absolutely no sense for me when I was already buying back down here. Right? So it's a situational thing. Shout out to ADD Dad, said, Frankie, I'm behind. Forgive me if you looked already. Shout out to ADD Dad. Hope you're doing well, brother. He said, I've got a fib pulled from the bear market low to all-time high. Golden pocket at 87, 83K. Thoughts? Still be a good higher low. Good place to bounce. So bear market low to bull market high. From bear market low to all-time high. Golden pocket at 87 to 83K. Shout out to ADD Dad. I don't know exactly what fib you're looking at. From bear market low to the all-time high is sitting at 57 to 54K. Maybe you are pulling it from... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're pulling it... You might be pulling it from this pullback low, which does come in between golden pocket 93 to 91K and then the 786 at 85K. Might be talking about that one. But yeah, when I pull it from the bear market low to the high, it gives me a much, much, much lower target. So let me know. Give me some more detail, and I'll try to look into it for you. Shout out to Vinny, said, I feel like just looking at charts and not the macro environment is not a fair judgment. Shout out to Vinny. Yeah, absolutely. You want to pay attention to everything. 100%, right? Like if the macro environment turns into a massive money printing situation, right? Well, a lot of these charts might not matter, right? So you got to pay attention to both, 100%. Extreme says, what time frames do you look for bull divs to take along? It depends on the setup. It literally changes based on every single trade. All right, grab the defibrillator. All right, let's pull some of these giveaways, guys. Let me go ahead and grab this link. Bada boom. And let me pull up the giveaway picker. Bada boom. Let's go ahead. Include replies, no. And here we are. Pull up chat. All right, here we go. 441 comments. 49 instead of 126, he said. Oh, gotcha. 49 instead of 120. 49 instead of 126, so he's got it pulled from the bear market low to 49K. Like right here? Oh, yeah, I don't know. This comes in at 28. I don't know. ADD. I don't want to give you bad information. I don't know if I'm fully understanding what you guys are looking at. I'm sure it's something. Might be on me. But that fib from the low to 49K would be 28 to 27K golden pocket. So I don't know. We'll see. Shout out to Jesse. Thank you for letting me know that. Maybe we can figure it out. All right, so let's continue on with our giveaways. We got 10 giveaways to do. We got 10 bags of ADA. If we hit 550 likes, are we there yet? Somebody let me know. If we hit 550 likes, we'll do 3 Frankie Candles hats. Rick says 1 year bear market, 1 year flat, then halving year, then bull. That would be, if the 4-year cycle repeats, that would be exactly what you look for. We have 600 likes. All right, cool. All right, so we're going to do the 10 bags of ADA first. I'm going to mark this out with $20 bills because I don't have a pen here. All right, winner number 1. Who's it going to be? I'm going to fly through these guys because we do have 13 things to pull. All right, here we go. Winner number 1. Who's it going to be? Crypto Knight, let's go. He said, nope, mass delistings, likely bunch of dead projects. I don't know if that's a bot or not. But shout out to Crypto Knight. If you're a bot, please let us know. If not, you just won some free USDT. I think I said Cardano before. It's USDT today, guys. All right, your winner number 1. Shout out to Crypto Knight. Next winner, who's it going to be? Blockchain Biker said, who would this even be a shock to? Shout out to Blockchain Biker. I don't know. Maybe someone not looking at the charts, but shout out to Blockchain Biker. We're going to give you a bag of USDT, or maybe we'll just send you this $20 bill. I don't know. I don't think anybody wants fiat. Your winner number 2. Let's go. Winner number 3. Og Life says, bing bong. I like that Og, bro. That's pretty fire. Shout out to you. Maybe you can buy some attachments with this USDT. Winner number 4. Here we go. Short News, Asta Pasta, baby. Shout out to Short News, your winner number 4, guys. Don't forget, go to the free Discord. Link in the description down below. Go to the Help Center to claim your prize. Winner number 5. Who's it going to be? Marco said, pick me. Marco, we just picked you, bro. We just picked you. You're winner number 5. Let's go. Winner number 5. I had to double check there. Winner number 6. Shout out to Marco. Who's it going to be? Wizzy Woo said blessings. Blessings right back to you. And we're going to bless you with some USDT, not this garbage fiat. Winner number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Winner number 7. Who's it going to be? SK Faith said to the moon. I hope so. SK Faith. But if not, we'll give you a little bag of USDT so we can buy the dip. Let's go. Shout out to SK. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Winner number 8. I can count to 10, guys. I swear. Winner number 8. LS OB Trading. Cool vid. Thank you, brother. We're going to give you just for being nice, we're going to give you a bag of USDT. Winner number 9. Who's it going to be? Skimmer. Rue says bing bong. Shout out to Rue. I think you're winner number 9. Congratulations. Go to the free Discord. Claim your prize in the Help Center. Winner number 10. Who's it going to be? Adil says bing bong. Shout out to Adil. Let's go. Shout out to Dear K2 said, no, it's rigged. Let me just double check this. Make sure I didn't call 11, guys. I get sidetracked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I almost shorted you guys. Winner number 10. Who's it going to be? Crypto Night, but a different Crypto Night. Shout out to Crypto Night, says Bing Bong. Your winner number 10, sneaking in there at the last minute. Those are the 10 winners. Let's go. Now, let's call the 3 Frankie Candles hats winners. I don't know what color they're going to be, guys. We got all different colors. You can go to frankiecandlestrading.com to check them out. I don't know what colors exactly they're going to be, but we got 3 winners here. Let's see who they're going to be. Who are we going to root for today? Who are we rooting for today? Let's see. Manny says scam. Let's see. To the moon underneath us. Wick 589. We're rooting for you, Wick. We're going to send you a new hat, bro. Let's get you in here on the winner. I'd rather the infinity wheel decide the winners myself, but this will work too. Shout out to Wick. Yeah, the wheel of pain and pleasure. We should bring it back. All right, winner number 1. Who's it going to be? Adrian G says Bing Bong. Is that a dog or a llama? I can't tell. I think it's a dog. Shout out to Adrian. Hit that free Discord. Go to the Help Center. Claim your free Frankie Candles hat. Proven to increase your win rate by at least 750,000%. I'm just kidding. Not financial advice. Winner number 2. Joe BTC said another gem of a video. LFG. Well, Joe, you're going to get a gem of a Frankie Candles trading hat. Go to the free Discord. Go to the Help Center. Claim your free prize. Thank you for being here, Joe. Thank you for dropping a comment. And the last winner. Come on, Wick. Emilio said, just fill in the gap, y'all. 92K, then fly. Shout out to Emilio. We do have the 92K gap there. And we're hoping that it's not going to be a lackluster retracement for a lower high and a lower low. But, hey, Emilio, I'm going to root for that for your situation. Hopefully we do moon from there. It is key support. We just got that have that money flow fake out to the upside. So hit that free Discord to claim your free hat. And there we go. Sorry, Wick. We tried to root for you, bro. Usually that helps. But let's do one last little check-in here on Bitcoin. Bing-bonging around here, guys. If you just tuned in, scrub to the beginning of the stream, guys. We looked for that 94K level yesterday. People don't want to believe it, but here we are. If we continue down, real quick. I'm on the wrong chart. Pretty much the same chart, right? Golden pocket, daily MPOCs. I'll pull up the macro range. This is it, guys. This is it. Take these off the chart. This is it. We've lost the 50-week moving average. This weekend, you're hoping, I don't know how probable it is, but you're hoping for a reclaim of that 103K level. If you can get that, looks a little better for a move to 108K, but we have a lot of resistance below. If we cannot hold this golden pocket with the local bull divs, these bull divs on the 1 hour, 4 hour, etc., are not going to give us the retracement from here, and we lose this level. You got the bottom of the golden pocket at 92,592 or 92,559, value area low, and another daily MPOC at $91,425. Got to hold that, guys. We don't hold that. There's literally nothing, just like we showed earlier. Looking at the volume, looking at the horizontal levels. Oh, my God. Can't type, guys. My hands are atrophied. Atrophied? From all week. Can't hold this level, guys. And again, just from a basic volume perspective. High volume nodes are where price sticks to. You lose the high volume node, fast drops down. Look at this volume gap. Fast drop down. Where are we sticking to? This high volume node. You want to get back above and push up again. Now, where does this wall of volume come back in? Right? Fast drop down. If we can flip back above that, you could get a quick move back through the gap. But where's the top of this volume profile, or I'm sorry, high volume node, sitting right in that $103,000 level, right? Big wall of resistance there. If we cannot hold this high volume node and we break down below, you have another gap leading you down into the 80s, where you have your next high volume node confluent with all your horizontal levels. You're hoping to hold this high volume node / horizontal support level. Get back above here, shoot up into 103K. We also have local levels we can reject as well, but I'm covering those in the premium Discord. I don't want to bore you guys with those. If we lose this, looking for the drop down to 85.3 to 82.167. Volume gap, fast move down, right? That's what we're looking at. Those are the biggest levels to keep on your chart on the higher time frames. So we'll see. If something crazy happens, guys, I'll be around this weekend. So if something super crazy happens, maybe I'll drop a market update. But with all that being said, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. Shout out to Rick Silver says, what happened to never seeing it below 100K? Again, I assume is what you mean. I don't know. People always say that. People always say, we're never going back down to that price ever. It's not usually the case. But yo, Golden with the 50 Frankie Candles memberships. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Shout out to Golden. Getting those gifted memberships in right at the last moment. I appreciate you, Golden. You are quite a, well, I guess he did probably just take a ton of profit on Bitcoin. But we appreciate you so much, bro. Drop the golden emoji in the chat if you got them. Hey, Asher Dude's in here. Shout out to Asher Dude. What is going on? Drop those golden emojis. Start that golden waterfall. Not a golden shower, guys. It's a golden waterfall. Show Golden some love for dropping those memberships for you guys. They're not cheap. And Golden, hey, like I said, if you want to buy back in, give us a bounce to the upside, I would greatly appreciate it. But with all that being said, guys, I got to hop out of here. That's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. I'll see you all on Monday. Have a great weekend. If I don't touch base with you over the weekend, have a great weekend. Be safe. Don't text and drive. Don't drink and drive. I want to see all of you guys back here on Monday. And hopefully we're talking about how all the TA meant nothing and we're scamming to the upside. But just be careful with with all those key levels and the money flow coming out. If you just tuned in, scrub back to the beginning of the stream. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spin it for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.